Welcome, everybody, to Advantage in Paradise. We are coming up upon what is likely our season finale next week, depending on what these brave idiots do tonight. But we're very excited. We're getting things prepped for a very awesome return after a short break. But as per usual, our audio is brought to us by, our ambiance is brought to us by Sirenscape and Tabletop Audio, and our music is all licensed through Soundstripe.com. Excellent services that I strongly recommend you check out. But now I'm going to turn it over to Shannon for some announcements and to talk about our partners.
Thank you, Sean. All right. So first of all, we reached 1,000 followers. Holy shit! How amazing is that? I'm so happy. So now I'll be DMing sometime this year. I don't know when. Don't ask me when. I have no idea. No. It'll be at some point. So very excited. Stop it. It'll be at some point. So thank you, everybody, for helping spread the word and help us reach that goal. We love you all so much. All right, I'm going to talk about our partners, and I have a really cool announcement, which I only told half the Paradise Boys on here. And then I'll let Sean talk about his game that's happening this weekend, the Jasper's Game Day game. So our partners, we have Arcane Spectacles, the creator of beautiful spell trackers, and other TTRPG accessories. They just came out with some gorgeous mugs today, one of which is inspired by our very own Curon. And Sean was showing off his wooden spell tracker, which is very nice. That purple one? Purple heart?
Yes.
Yes. Very nice. So pretty. So you can find dice vaults that are made of wood on their shop. Be sure to use the code PARADICE, PARADICE, for 10% off any item in their Etsy shop. Same with Talon and Claw. If you would like to purchase any of their DM screens, dice vaults, dice, coasters, like this one, the super cool rogue coaster that says "Even this motto is stolen." You can purchase that on their Etsy shop and use the code Paradice for 10% off. Next, we have the Underground Oracle Publishing, the creators of incredible D&D 5e supplements. Our lovely Cal uses the Prongs of the Black in our campaign, and which took out a troll in a single round. It was pretty freaking cool. So be sure to sign up for their Patreon and join their Discord if you have not already, because it's a wonderful community that Keith and Jess have created, and their stuff is just so freaking cool. Last but not least, we have Eddie York, the original character artist for Paradice. You saw the Wayward Five on our waiting screen. Eddie drew all of them. And we have a project in the works with him again. So we cannot wait to, I won't say anything, so I don't know if I'm allowed to. So, but be on the lookout for that. And check him out on Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. Okay, super cool announcement that I only told half of the boys. I recently partnered with Mythic for a limited edition Scarlet-inspired hoodie that I just got in the mail today, which I'm very, very excited about. So this baby is going to be up for 3 weeks on her shop. So if you would like a limited edition Scarlet hoodie or t-shirt, you can purchase that on her shop. I asked Clayton to put the links in chat. I don't know if Clayton put the links in chat, but I hope he did. Nope. Just fucking one job, Clayton. One job. So they'll be in there eventually. If not, I'll do it when I'm done talking. But what? Scarlet! Jesus Christ. So follow Maddie on Twitter and check out all of her amazing products on her shop. She is open to doing more limited edition things with the other characters, so just be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, 3 weeks and then this thing goes away. So do it. Okay, Sean, now you can talk about your game, which I'm really, really excited for.
Oh, sorry, I was distracted because I was buying a Scarlet hoodie. Yes, so this Saturday, the 9th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be playing in a Jasper's Game Day table for the event. There will be opportunities to donate, opportunities to donate to a great cause. Scarlet or Shannon will be playing as well as some other really awesome people from the community and those who donated and got into the competition. There will be plenty of other tables as well, so if you can't make mine or you want to watch more than just mine, check out Jasper's Game Day for information on that. A lot of really great DMs playing this weekend, so check it out. All right. Anything else, Shannon? Right,
Nope.
well,
Good to go. I need to brood now.
Let's get started then. Right. All right. So, last we left off, there was no rest for the Wayward Five, even behind the several thick stone-cut walls and among the innumerable faces of the streets of Caerdolan. You all came to this rancorous center of the Trinwald Quintarchy a week ago. From muddied roads littered with danger, wyverns, malicious spirits, and old enemies. You arrived with a purpose. Find more information on the Pallid King, the figure known as Hollingsworth amongst the Academy here, and any other clues about the happenings across Gwenvalir, particularly in regards to Curon's quest to understand and fulfill the prophecies of Ilyvania. But again, there's no rest for the Wayward Five, even among the intricate cobbled streets of the Rosine Rise behind the ivy-speckled walls of General Kinsley's estate. Danger rested. Late in the night, at the end of this week, as you all had grown settled into this bustling city, the Crimson Court chose to attack. The empty manor halls echoed with each strike of the shadow arrows as the pair of assassins invaded your safe house. Here with the singular purpose of killing Scarlet. You were able to deplete the primary assassin to the point that the entity known as the Cirrus took control of the half-orc woman's body and ended her life unceremoniously. This left one assassin held within Curon's banishing spell, and then once brought back within Wiswick's telekinesis. Curon quickly cast calm emotions on the now captured Caleb. Curon pleaded with Scarlet to remember her former lover and criminal partner. But the Cirrus had the final words to her former acolyte. Kill your heart. Come home. Speaking through Caleb's possessed form, the witch goaded Scarlet with threats of persistent violence and death and desolation. Enraged, confused, and underneath, certainly frightened. Our peculiar rogue couldn't take the vile tongue of the wretched Cirrus any longer. With precision, the former Crimson Court hopeful ended the life of her former partner. First, the voice of the Cirrus faded, and with it, Caleb's wicked grin shifted to fear, and then pain, and then sorrow. As second, the light of his eyes faded, with the final word, Rowan. Huron rushed forward to catch the limp body, shouting to Scarlet about what she had done. In the stillness of the empty halls of General Kinsley and the light of the stars above, Curon ushered Caleb onward, beseeching Ilyvania to hold the memory of this man, of who he once was. For those he loved and brought joy to, and not the wicked deeds forced upon him by the court. And in this hall, with a heavy burden on his heart, Curon looked to Scarlet and told her to forget all he had told her of this man. We left off, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, with Scarlet storming off.
We are like the immediate aftermaths of that. I am literally just cleaning off my dagger and turning around and walking away.
As she begins to walk away, Kieran still holding Caleb's body, looking at, the blood slowly dripping off his neck. In a hushed tone, but definitely loud enough to be heard by all, he says, "You haven't changed at all, have you? You're still a scared woman, hiding on the edge of the world in a little town no one knows."
I stop in my tracks, turn around, and look at Huron dead in the eyes. What
He's looking at the
did
body.
you just say? Okay, fine. If his eyes were there, I would be staring straight into his eyes. What did you just say?
Timber looks at Cal and just... Let's go. Sorry. Continue.
I said, "You haven't changed at all, Scarlet. In the 3 months that we've been traveling together, you still just react with fear. I asked you to trust me. I asked you not to kill him. But you did."
Because he was going to murder us all. You heard what
No,
he
he
said.
wasn't.
Yes, he was.
There were ways. There's always a way to
How?
end this kind of manipulation. I'm not sure, Scarlet. I don't have all the answers at the moment. If nothing else, we could have gotten more information out of him, information valuable to you in the continued survival against the Crimson Court. It could have been even useful to General Kinsley in his fight against them.
Kieran, you don't understand how the court works.
No, I don't. But maybe if we'd spoken with Caleb more, we could have learned more how they work now, as opposed to when you were with them, however long ago.
It wasn't that long ago. I could have told you everything you needed to know. It's done.
Yes, you are correct. And he's going to look at his blood-stained hands, and then wipe them on Caleb, lower him to the floor, and then send a message through sending to, what's her name? The woman that works at the under the general that's been Gwendolyn. I'm gonna send a message to her that simply states, "Gwendolyn, issue at the manor, 3 dead bodies. Please, come help or some shit." I don't know.
Easy enough, yeah.
While that's happening, Wiswick's gonna pull Scarlet aside. Not really, too far away, but just far enough that Huron might not notice, which I guess would probably be pretty far away.
That would have to be in an entirely another room with the door closed.
Yeah, so maybe I'll do that. I'll just say,
Okay.
"Scarlet, come over here for a second. I want to have a private conversation, if that's all right."
About what?
I think we need to get some air.
Fine. I follow.
So, 2 of you step out into the courtyard over the body of the first guard.
Who let's
Who
just say Cal
I
has...
didn't kill.
No, you didn't kill him.
No.
Cal is picking up that guy's body and bringing him in to lay him out neatly.
Yeah.
Instead of just leaving his fucking brains on the goddamn ground. I'll pay for that.
But yes, I'll say Cal has been doing that sort of in that awkward moment in between, as the 2 of you step outside into the night.
Yeah, Wiswick makes sure he closes the door and then turns around over to Scarlet and says, "Listen, what you did
out there. I mean, honestly, what the stuff that Kiran said, he was wrong. It wasn't okay. What he said. I think that he's taking his moral stance and trying to make you feel bad because he wanted to take the high ground. And I don't really approve of that. I think what you did was logical, and I think that in the long run, it's going to be smart, because even though you might have some history with Caleb, he was going to continue hunting us until we did something about it. However, the easy road is not always the good road, you know? Like, sure, it was smart. Sure, it'll cause us less grief later on, now that he's gone. But if you made the tough decision to keep him alive, maybe trap him somewhere, we could have found a different solution. And I'm not saying that you did the wrong thing. It was a judgment call. Everybody makes decisions that they can regret later, but you've got to think more about these things. The opportunities and options are endless when it comes to battle and combat. You need to strategize more. That's all I wanted to say.
So you think I'm a bad person too? That's
No.
all I heard?
I didn't say you were a bad person. Look, Scarlet, I'm going to tell you something. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but way back when we were fighting some bandits long ago, we were infiltrating a bandit camp near Magin-Set, and we tied up some guards that we thought were going to, we thought might give away our position, but I was nervous. I was scared. I thought that they would escape and let them on to our plans. We were going into some really scary stuff, and I didn't want our strategy to be revealed. So when everybody was away, I finished them off.
You did.
Don't look at me like that. You know I can do it if I want to.
But after everything that you just said to me about making a logical decision or not rushing into it, you're going to stand here and lecture me when you've done exactly the same thing?
I'm saying that it did do the exact same thing, and I apologize because it was something that I regret now. And if I thought about it a little bit further, then maybe I could have done it. And also, it's not the same thing. You may feel like it's the same thing, but Caleb was close to you. You had a real relationship.
No. I don't want to talk about that. I have no idea who that person is. I'm done with this conversation. And I turn around and walk back inside.
Okay. Yeah, Wiswick just kicks the ground and then follows her back in shortly after.
I'll stomp up the stairs back to my room.
Okay.
So Wilfred, did this guy have any family?
Yeah.
Was it Wilfred? It was Wilfred, right?
It was Wilfred. He's young. Yes. He's kind of like, you could tell Wilfred's compartmentalizing everything and kind of just unnaturally calm right now, boarding up the walls of his heart and mind to everything he's seen today. Yeah. Gwendolyn gets here, we'll sort it out.
If you don't mind, I'll write a letter. You can send to them as well.
Yes, thank you. Just drop it off with Gwen.
I'm searching not Caleb's body and not poor random guard. I'm searching the other person's body. I've also brought them to a convenient area to.
Yeah. Out of the hall and onto a table or something.
Yeah, or even just on the floor in the big place with the stone, so it's not on that carpet.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me an investigation roll.
if we, Kieran would also probably be just checking Caleb's body and maybe taking a memento if he finds one.
Yeah, give me an investigation roll.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
Let's co-op this for a real sec.
If I still
We've
have telekinesis-
successfully shifted Caleb from Scarlett's tragic backstory to Kieran's tragic backstory.
His developing tragic
Yeah,
story,
yeah.
actually.
Since we are kind of creating Kieran's tragic
Yeah.
backstory, since he doesn't have like the perfect like happy life before, but it's a hell of a lot happier than it is now.
It was pretty idyllic,
Yeah.
very sheltered.
I rolled
yeah.
a 14.
Wiswick, you said something about your telekinesis.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that while everybody's doing this, I'm trying to clean the place up slightly with whatever's left of it,
Yeah, I'll allow you to do
because
that.
we've made a lot of mess.
Yeah, the best you can, I'll allow you to do that. With the last few minutes of it.
Yeah, maybe just the heavier parts.
Yeah, you can lift some stuff, things that aren't completely shattered, destroyed. Cal, what'd you get again? 14? Cool.
Yes.
All right, so the first things first, you do, of course, find the bow that she had. The shadow arrowed bow. On the body of the person, though, there's nothing. Nothing else. Like, there's no daggers. There's no physical daggers. There's nothing in her pockets. It's completely as if she was meant to never be recognized again after the Seers assumed control and ended her life. Kieran, what was your role for Caleb's body?
23.
23. Okay. So there's similarly little to the body, except there are a few things on his persons. So he has actual weapons, of course. He has similar assassin's garb to her. They both do have kind of like this crimson kind of scarf tucked under their armor around their neck. If you were to pull that out in your investigations, you would find tumbling out of it is sort of a pressed flower that is you've never seen before, this type of flower. It is the way the colors look almost like embers in a fire for each of the petals. But you've never seen this type of flower before.
Anything else particular, or just this?
That is mostly that's the
Okay.
things of
That-
note.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, everything
Okay.
else would be, you find, court daggers, court weapons, court armor. Actually, there is one other thing that you find. Both of you find this actually, is they are both wearing leather armor, but it is Glamoured leather armor, +1, and it is. You would notice, kind of upon inspecting it, that it has kind of this it looks like plain dark leather armor, but then it has sort of this opalescent sheen over it. So I guess you wouldn't really know off the bat that it was Glamoured armor, but you would know that it is enchanted in some way. So 2 sets of that.
Turning to Cal, because I assume they're both kind of like patting the bodies down next to each other.
Yeah.
Kieran will be like, do you think this armor has any value? I'm not always one for... Not in like a monetary, I'm not going to sell it, but I meant... No, never mind.
I mean, take it off Caleb at least. That way we can bury him or burn him. I don't know. Whatever is appropriate.
Maybe you could add some of it to the
Jesus Christ,
general's-
you're still here?
Hi. Yeah, I said add it to General Kinsley's
some reason I thought
trophy
you would've
case,
said-
maybe.
Why would he get these in his trophy case? He hasn't done anything against the court.
I mean, that doesn't stop him from embellishing some story about how they attacked his, his manor and his people
It's
defended
fine.
him.
Just take them off for now, and we'll figure it out later.
Huron removes the Glamoured leather armor from Caleb, cleaning it
Same.
to the best of his ability.
Cal does
And
not
then
clean it.
Is,
Just toss it.
is Timber around?
No. He is
No, I
gone.
imagine
Timber.
Timber immediately snuck off.
Where'd Timber go? Do we want to cut to Timber?
Yeah, we'll cut to Timber. Timber, where'd you go?
Oh, this entire time, once I made that little comment like, Timber's gonna go. He's going to try to sneak into Kinsley's office. To do all he can to get there. He would have quickly grabbed the thieves' tools off of one of the bodies and made his way.
Okay.
I'm assuming they had thieves' tools.
Yeah, they did. Well, you know for sure at least Caleb did. But the other one probably did as well. Alright, so you can go ahead and give me an attempt to use those thief tools.
Actually, I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
Can I see through the keyhole?
You can give me a perception check.
Like, is it...
It's pretty tiny. And there's no lights on.
Okay,
in the
well,
other
that's a
room.
22. Nope, that's 8. Sorry. It's a 24.
Okay, I mean, you could, do you have dark vision?
Yes.
Okay. With your dark vision, you'd just barely be able to make out the shapes of the room on the other side. Just a little bit.
I'm gonna blink through. Or shadow step.
Ah. Yes. The Shadow Monk's thieves' tools.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, you you find yourself in a very dark hall, no torches, nothing lit. Similar to the hall that you all are staying in. You know, it's got a lot of embellishments, decorations on the walls, suits of armor, those sorts of things. There are several doors, but you would notice the hallway goes down and then ascends at the back, towards the back of the building, where you see a spiral staircase that goes up. Presume, based on the Wiswick's magical detections earlier that he talked to you about, that leads towards Kinsley's office. You'd also notice that it has a descending staircase as well, as part of the spiral staircase, which you presume goes to the basement and the layer below.
Okay. Timber's gonna first make his way upwards. He's also... I know this doesn't mean anything, but he's just gonna keep an ear out for if there's any more Crimson Court people. Just like...
Yeah. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
I mean, you could tell me. Ah! I dropped that D20. Okay, that's...
There's actually 6 more assassins waiting in the dark.
Standing in a
Holy
circle
crap.
around you.
Okay, well, this is even better. 25.
25. Okay, it's dead as night. The only sounds are coming from the cleaning of the bodies in the other room. And you hear some shouting as Scarlet storms off. But you seem to be alone in this wing. All right, so you get to the top of the stairs, and there is a double doors there that open outwards towards you. They are locked. If you were to go for them, you can't. There's no window on them. There is a keyhole. You could try to look through it again.
Okay. Oh my god. That was a 16, a 17, and a 16. So 24.
24.
Different
All
dice,
right.
too.
This is great.
God.
Yeah, you can see inside. I'll say before you blink in, because I'm assuming you're gonna blink in.
Yes.
You see like it has a similar setup to the study that you all have access to. It's just smaller. Because it's only for him. It has tall ceilings lined with books, as far as you can tell of the shapes of it. But it's very much just kind of like, the outlines. But you could blink in there if you would like. With a 24, I'd say you can see that there are, there's bookshelf walls, and then in between them, every so often, there's non-bookshelf walls that have like paintings all up to the ceiling, and suits of armor like you saw in the outer hall, and there's just a faint light coming from above where you can't really see it, but you presume there's a skylight window in there as well.
Okay. Yeah. I would like to blink in there. And
okay. So you blink into there, and it's, you immediately kind of look up and see there's kind of like this stained glass, very experimental-looking stained glass mural up above. It seems to depict the same twin pillar image that you saw in the Barrows, the twin pillar theory of the cosmic planar universe. The first thing you would notice is that as soon as you blinked in, you're standing in the center of the room, and you're standing on top of a teleportation circle.
In his room. Or does this look like a study?
It's both a study and a lofted bedroom. Like you can see, like above the bookshelves, there's another floor that seems to be likely bedroom, because this would be where his room, he probably never goes anywhere else in this freaking building.
Okay.
Give me a quick perception check.
I get rid of all my good rules. That's not bad. That's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay. All right. With a dirty 20, you would notice that there is a kind of in the back of the room. You would notice directly across from across from the door you blinked through, there is his primary desk. It's kind of somewhat on a dais. Papers scattered across it, those sorts of things. You would notice, though, on the desk, there is this little statue of a falcon, and you would notice a little blue rune laid up on it.
Ah, shit. It started lighting when I entered the room.
Yeah.
Okay. Timber's going to just he's going to quickly reach in his back pocket and ingest the invisibility potion that he made.
Excellent. As you ingest, as you pop this invisibility potion, your form slowly fades, right as the runic light gets brighter, and all of the knight's armors glow with that same blue light underneath the armor, and they all step off of their pedestals and step down and start to patrol the room. There are 4 of them. They are about 8 feet tall. They all have long, great swords in their hands.
Oh, Timber, like, confident, but still like, I can't fuck up here. He's gonna slowly walk over to Kinsley's desk and just try to see if he can gather any information from documents or things of importance. And he's also going to try to memorize how everything's laid out so he can put everything back.
Okay. I need you to give me a stealth check.
Yes, sir. Hold on. Put my other dice. With advantage.
Yeah, because you're invisible.
Risky business.
It's very risky business.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba.
Alright, well, a 4 or a 15. I will probably take the 15. And that is plus 8. So that's a 23.
23?
Si, senor.
Okay, so I'll say, since you got such a high stealth roll, that you have 18 seconds before they see you, because they all have blind sight.
Ah! Okay.
They have 60-foot blind sight.
I probably should have made stealth without advantage, but yes, continue.
Yeah, I allowed it because you know, I wanted to give you a little bit of time.
Okay.
You so cleverly got here. You gotta get something from it.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. So then, what are you prioritizing? Because you don't have a lot of time before they see you. You pretty much need to use some of the 6 seconds to get there, 6 seconds to look for something, and then 6 seconds to get out of there, if that's what you want to do.
If he doesn't have a lot of time, he might just open an important drawer and the documents on the desk, wrap them up, and put them in his bag, and get the hell out of there.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'll say happens is you notice the armor all light up with that blue energy. They all step down and start to patrol in a very organized way. And you immediately notice this and immediately dash up to the table. Give me a
acrobatics, jumping off the table.
Give me
onto
first.
The floor,
give me
looking through the keyhole.
First,
Sorry.
give me just a sleight of hand roll with disadvantage for just grabbing whatever you can.
Okay. With disadvantage.
Yes.
First roll's a 10. Second roll's a 13. Oh my god. So 10 plus 12, it's 22.
I forgot you have a shit ton of sleight of hand. Okay, so 22. All right, so when you get up there, you start to frantically open drawers. Some of them are locked. You do get one open, and I imagine you just sort of throw your scarf down and just start throwing things into it, and then wrapping it up and grabbing it. And as you do this, of course, not only can they hear you, so you just look up and you just see these 4 animated armors have just stopped there. They're all holding their swords like this. And then they just start walking all towards you in unison, taking the swords up like this, just ready to come down and swipe at you. How would you like to get out of here?
Slide across the desk. Do a action roll across the teleportation circle. Look through the keyhole. Blink out.
So, I'm gonna say an acrobatics check is gonna be required to avoid any of their attacks.
Okay. I can't be lucky forever. Hold on, I have to re-roll that. That was falling off the table. It was an 18. Okay, I have to re-roll it. Okay. That's a 7 plus 8. That's 15.
Okay, I would say with a 15, only one of the 4 gets a attack off on you. Don't worry, it's not too bad. And also they have to hit, so if they don't hit, you're good.
AC 17.
They don't hit you.
Oh.
They're not known for their ability to be dexterous and hit something moving so fast. So you essentially slide across the table. Even more papers go flying. They kind of, you can see one of the larger parchment goes just like right into the face of the first animated armor, and it kind of, you can notice it kind of like gets disoriented for a second, but then it's like, wait, I can see, and then it just goes for an attack on you, and essentially you slide through these this like parade of ching, 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 and each of them misses you as you just barely get to the door, peek through, and you are out of General Kinsley's office with several documents in hand. And you can hear them inside, just sort of like running around, confused. Slowly starts to fade into normal patrolling.
Heart pounding. Timber's going to start making his way into the basement and cut away to Timber. From Timber.
All right. Cut away from Timber, I'll say, because you kind of, we're carefully doing this. It took quite some time. I'd say by this point, Cal and Huron have just said, "Where's Timber?" It's about 20 minutes since Huron called Gwendolyn, so she should be arriving any moment now. Is there anything you'd like to do before she arrives?
Nope.
No.
Okay. So you kind of ponder about where Timber is, but you're...
Yeah, I'd run and get some paper and ink, and maybe a quill or a pen, and I would write just to like. I would get the dead guard's name from Wilfred. I'd be like, he was so and so. Johnny died bravely in the execution of his duties. My name is Cal. Blah blah blah. He died defending us, and I want you to know that he was brave to the end. Period. Done. Cal. Sign.
Okay. You can easily do that. Imagine it's sort of like you go into the study area, acquire some of this, and just sort of in the dark halls there, write this brief note. Stepping down.
We thank him for his sacrifices in there.
Excellent. You seal it with wax up there as you step down the main Great Hall steps. Just as Gwendolyn opens the doors, you can hear the opening of the Great Hall doors as she steps in, and immediately kind of is like rushing towards the first person she sees, which is Huron, in a very like, I'd say, Professor McGonagall running down the hall to meet Harry, Hermione, and Ron. Sort of like, it's always you two, you three. As she's sort of in like rushed attire as she rushed over here. And she just looks at Huron as the first person she sees and sees the bodies behind him on the table. Just, what's happened here?
Well, we had a visit from 2 assassins of the Crimson Court. Came after our party member, Scarlet. They unfortunately killed one of your guards outside before we could get the other one inside.
Oh, no.
But we were able to dispatch both assassins.
These are them?
Yes.
All right. Right. Well, Wilfred and I will take care of it now. I suggest you all find your rest. You've earned rest. Thank you for defending the estate. And... Shit.
Gwendolyn, I say, coming down the stairs. If you get this to... Did that card even have a name?
We'll call him Aaron.
Can you get this to Aaron's family, please? And
Of course.
express our thanks and our condolences.
At once, Lord Stormwind.
What are you doing with the other 2 bodies?
I need to speak with General Kinsley about what to do with them. I see you've cleaned some of them up. I'll take care of it from here.
Okay, great. I'm bushed.
Please. Thank you, Gwendolyn. I do think we will find our rest, though. If you need anything, let us know.
Likewise. Thank you for calling me. Thank you for sending me a message.
Of course. It seemed like the proper thing to do, and you're staying in someone else's
And you see she immediately goes to Wilfred and Aaron's body. She's personally, you can tell, unconcerned with the assassins. More concerned with her fellow workers. Is there anything else anyone would like to do tonight, or Cal?
Briefly, Cal would take a second and just kind of stand over Caleb's body and like put his head down respectfully. He's not like praying, but just like to give him a moment, because somebody should at least say something for Scarlet, you know?
Yeah.
And then fuck off to bed.
Yeah. You know, you've seen him in his most violent before, but also
this isn't for Cal.
No, yeah.
You know?
But really, most of Cal's experience with Caleb was when he was under the calm emotions. So you really kind of only knew the sad guy in that sense. So it is a moment, kind of you're both in it and out of it, within and without. Would you turn heel and head to bed? Anything else from anyone for the evening?
I think, yeah, Wiswick, before he goes to bed, well, does Cal, like, just pays his respects before, like, going, just nods his head or something, lines, closes his eyes if they weren't already.
Yeah, absolutely. I imagine Wiswick tips his wizard's hat, takes it off for a moment, and ponders. And then heads to bed. You all
Huron.
find... Go ahead.
No, I'm just joking. I was gonna say Kieran stops by. No, he already did his shit. Instead, he holds the pressed flower as he's walking up to his room and goes, "Where is Timber?" And goes into...
I'd say, Timber, you would have arrived after everyone went upstairs, kind of. I imagine, Timber, you would get to the, like, exterior and see Gwendolyn there, and I imagine you would start stealthing back to bed.
No, he wanted to go in the basement.
Oh, shit, I forgot about the basement. You're right. So you're not even out there yet. Excellent.
I would like to imagine that Scarlet tried to go to her room and a big alarm went off the second she tried to open the door.
Just to add insult to injury.
Just pissed her off even more.
I imagine Scarlet, this loud, like, just Wiswick. Essentially, I imagine it's just Wiswick's voice being like, "Alarm! Alarm! Intruder alert!" And I imagine
They're
Scarlet...
coming from the walls! The walls!
I imagine Scarlet frustrated as this goes off until Wiswick realizes to snooze it.
He doesn't realize until he gets up there himself.
Yeah. But the rest of you do go back to your rooms, and in, you know, whatever way you can, find rest. You know, contemplating a bit of what happened tonight, maybe going through it a few times in your head. Was this exactly how it had to end? Is this what was always going to happen? What could I have done in that moment? Even if you had no love for Caleb, and honestly no love for Scarlet's situation, the moment still rests heavy on everyone's mind thinking about it. Timber, heart beating, you descend the spiral staircase into first, you would spot the first floor, which you would notice there is, you know, the open door with the debris there from where Caleb entered. But the stairs continue down into the basement, where I presume you want to go directly.
Yeah.
Okay. When you get down into the basement, it is much darker, of course. Your dark vision is having much more trouble seeing down here, without any of the minor moon and starlight from the windows. You hear a little bit of dripping of groundwater, and that creepy echoing basement tone. Immediate smells of mildew and still water down here, which are particularly noxious to you. What would you like to do?
Given my lack of vision, I don't have anything. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he's just gonna kind of get a sense of what's down here. If there's any, as Wiswick pointed out, that there's some sort of magic down here, and he wants to find out if the general's hiding anything, or why we can't go down here. So
Absolutely.
just gonna keep searching, staying against the walls, like
Yeah.
just see
Relying
what's
on your touch and slight sight.
around. Yes.
Give me an investigation roll.
That is 11.
My favorite thing is that I always forget you have that blink, and that you're particularly good at using it in like non-combat ways. And I did not think you were gonna get into the general's wing. Like I have stuff prepared, but I was like,
Okay.
he's gonna try to pick the locks, but he can't pick locks. He's a wolf. All right, what was it again?
I got an 11 for investigation.
11. All right. So you're having trouble in your first movements through. You are kind of stumbling through. You step down and feel a large puddle of water. You kind of trip for a moment and grasp your hand onto something to hold yourself up, and you actually end up grabbing a wine bottle, and your hand comes sliding out, and you slip forward and fall down, and you hear the wine bottle shatter on the ground. A lot of dust came off and hit you in the face as well, and you're just sort of like coughing and sort of doing that wolf dog thing. As you can tell, like either these wine bottles are here because he's not touching them and leaving them to be, for later, or like what. The main thing I would say you notice is that everything seems very untouched in this part. From your kind of hand grabbing around, but you stumble forward and you do notice that the hall continues, and it seems to continue for the length of the wing. And there are several side rooms that you can just barely see the doorways to. I'd say there's 4 rooms down here. And the immediate chamber is a wine cellar. There's sort of a large wine cellar that then leads into a back, more traditional basement hall, where the ceiling is low and the doorways are small, and it's very simple stone structure, and it's very old. It's the roots of this home.
Okay, Timber's going to investigate everything until there seems to be a threat in which he needs to flee.
Okay. Go ahead and give me we'll take this one step at a time, almost going through. So give me the first investigation check as you lift yourself up and start moving into this room.
6.
Timber, you cross over into you cross the first room. I imagine you're being somewhat quiet. Do you want a stealth while you're doing this?
Yeah.
All right, give me a stealth check.
Visibility should still be up, right?
Correct.
Unless-
Oh wait,
Unless there's things that have blindside down here.
well, invisibility is still up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll. Well, that's the thing with things with blindside. It doesn't matter what you roll. It doesn't matter if you're within their 60-foot radius or whatever their radius is.
Oh, okay. It is 16 plus 8, so 24.
Nice. All right. So when peeking into this first room, you would notice that this room is storage. You can see it's very simple. You see there's a lot of boxes in there. You don't know if it's just food or stocks, whatever it might be. But this first room on the left seems to be harmless. You do notice that there is a second doorway, and it seems as though these 4 rooms are, or at least on each side, they're connected where you can walk into one and you can go into the next one from it. But as far as you can tell, no threat in this first room.
Okay. Continue on to the next one.
Okay, give me an investigation roll.
It's 10.
10, okay. I would say you, and the only reason you notice this is because it is somewhat broken and twisted, and janky looking. Like it was set a long time ago and hasn't been revisited in a while. You do notice a very thin tripwire that you're really only noticing because you kicked up so much dust earlier. And it is in the lower third of kind of a tighter doorway that leads into the next part of the hallway. So you can easily step over that if you would like.
Yes. And now going onward, he's going to be a little bit more cautious of traps.
Absolutely. So when you enter into this next part of the room, you can see to your right is a doorway that leads into another chamber. The doorway in front of you there's actually a door to it, with you can see iron bars, almost like a peeking window at head level on the door right in front of you. To your right, you would notice a alchemy table, and you would notice the Kinsley's personal store of alchemy supplies.
Ooh, that's riches for Timber. He's going to stop and take a moment. And just open up his inventory.
Okay. You find that I'll say you're like slightly disappointed at first because it's not as well stocked as you hoped. Given the condition of this basement, this antechamber seems mostly untouched. You notice some of the goods are like dried beyond use, where they're too dry. They won't mix well with the potions. They'll make them volatile. But I'll say you do find quite a few things that we can resolve later if you'd like.
Sure. That sounds perfect.
Okay. How long do you want to spend in there?
Not long.
Okay.
No, like that's
so
not
just
his
sort of a
purpose
quick
being
look,
there.
see anything that's
Stands
high
out.
value, and
Yeah.
grab it.
Grab it.
Excellent. Excellent. We can settle that later. What you find. Perfect. You move back into the hallway, and you notice that the second half of the basement is behind this barred door.
Barred doors can't stop me.
I know.
Magic bars my way.
Do you want to peek through first?
Oh yes, of course. I'm not just sleeping into
All right, give me a perception check
trap of spikes.
with disadvantage.
Correct. It's 16.
16. Okay. You peek inside and you can see just barely at the end of the hallway is a suit of armor. There are two other rooms in there, one to the left, one to the right. The one to the left is the first room, and then a ways down, there's one to the right that is about 10 feet away from the suit of armor. It's about, I'd say, based on the length of the hall, it's about 70 feet away, the statue.
Can I take a nearby rock and throw it at it?
You can try to.
Actually, well, no, that would count as an attack, wouldn't it?
You would come out of invisibility.
Yeah, no, thank you.
You recall in the previous room, the suit of armor wasn't what triggered it. It was
It was like the gem.
The Falcon statue.
Gem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Timber's going to, with caution, so he's not going to blink far. He's going to blink pretty close to the gate.
Pretty much just put yourself right on the other side of the door.
Right, and then slowly make his way towards one of the adjacent doors.
Okay. So your form kind of turns to shadow and moves through the bars and then reappears on the other side. Give me a quick perception check while you're there.
Disadvantage, right?
Yep.
Wow, okay. 15 and a 14, so that's 22.
You are kind of like hugged up against the wood of the door. You can kind of feel the draft of cold air moving through the bars. And you look up, and above you, looking down the hall, is a falcon statue.
Oh, fuck. Okay, he's gonna... he's gonna blink back.
You're not going to continue?
Well, if they're 70 feet away, how far away is the door from me?
The actual statue is 70 feet away from you. The first door is only like 5 feet away from you.
Oh, okay. So then, if that's the case, then he's gonna.
Yeah, you would have a hard time getting to the second door without triggering the Falcon, but you could definitely get to the first door without triggering the Falcon.
Okay, so the gem isn't glowing yet, right?
No, it's not glowing yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Because it has kind of like, you're like right in its blind spot for like 10 feet.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Give me an investigation.
3.
All right. Well, you're not finding any particular things, but you do see the general room. It's a room. But this first room is... You see a few things in here. There are stocked shelves in here as well. And you can kind of see, like, the shelves look an awful lot like Saoirse's shop in Brackland Glen, with all the different magical reagents, and you see like jars with eyes in them. You see, large bushels of strange plants that don't seem natural, with slight glows to them. You actually would see a bushel of flowers that do look an awful lot like the pressed flower in Caleb's shirt, but you don't know what that is. But these ones are alive though, and they have kind of they look like the embers of flower of a fire just burning in a bouquet. You see just sort of jars of glowing dust and all sorts of things. No bullywug heads, pickled bullywug heads, but there are plenty of oddities here. You see a full, almost like you would find in like a med school. You see a full human skeleton. And then you see a full elven skeleton, you presume, based on what it looks like. Slightly taller, thinner, the bones look smaller. Uncertain what type of elf. Based on the bone structure, smaller than Curons, you presume potentially a Gwyn elf. But what's most pressing is you see a table in the center of the room. It is round, and it is etched with different runes on it. Across it, it is separated into several different sections that each have their own runic sigil. Sigil. You see 8 runic sigils there, one for each school of magic, you would know, with corresponding kind of colors to it. And they all have little, like, bowls to hold reagents, it would seem, and then little rivulets that go to the center, where you can see there is a larger concave bowl that looks sort of like it's got grime on it and burnt bits and scorch marks, as if this is a focus for some kind of magic onto this central piece. You would notice several reagents scattered about this, and then against the back wall are several other shelves, bookshelves, different. There's sort of a much smaller desk than upstairs. But this is some sort of research room.
Okay. And taking a quick look at the desk and the ritual table, is there any sort of notes, any documents, or any reference to, let's say, the Everflame?
There are Everflame prayer beads on the desk. There is a journal on the desk that you would see that has the pointed star of the Everflame on it. You would see there's kind of like this small lantern next to the bed next to the desk that when you approach it lights up the room in a very, very dim orange light. And then you see scattered notes on the desk as well.
At this point, Timber's just gonna pocket all of it.
Okay. Excellent. Give me one more investigation check, if you will, while you're by the desk and have some light.
Sure. 1 second, I gotta re-roll that. That was falling off the table. 12.
12. So you would notice once the light lights up the room, you are, grabbing things, putting them in your bag, and you turn around, and for a moment you feel fear, immediate terror that someone has caught you, before you realize that it is just a rack of armor and not a magically enchanted suit of armor.
Ah.
But the armor, you've seen it before. There is a helmet that is rusted and ancient looking. A Kieran-style helmet, the magical helmet crossguard that you saw in the basement of, forgetting the names of my own places. Driftmarch. On the wizard who had massacred the Nords and summoned the demon. And you see the rest of the ancient armor. Thank you, Zverals. Nords, oh my god.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah, and you can see the full armor is there. The tabard that you saw on that individual, the full set of armor is there.
Oh, well. Okay. Timur's gonna make note of that. And he's gonna try to find something flat. Just like a piece of paper or something like that. Something he can quickly fasten to his immovable rod in this room. Go back out and attempt to mage hand his immovable rod over the flat piece and see if he can cover the falcon detection.
This idea. All right, so yeah,
if he's hiding something, he's got better be good.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that makes sense. Yeah,
Sorry.
You can easily fasten some paper to your immovable rod to serve as a block for this fantasy security camera. You peek out there, and the mage hand is lifting it up to cover this falcon, and as soon as it gets in front of the falcon, the blue light lights up, and you hear the It's like in Skyrim when you hear an enemy slightly sees you and you hear them running from behind a wall.
What's going on? Sorry.
Who's that? The eye is half open.
Quickly retract my immovable rod and blink out of there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you run out, you get your removal rod back, you get to the door, blink to the other side. As you can see through the bars, the blue, they're much scarier down here. It's much scarier looking down here, as you can see kind of like the blue spectral magic within the armor as it just sort of like came running down the hall and has stopped on the other side of the door. It's like a Draugr. But you have escaped.
All right. Having that's Timber is going to at this point assume that there's nothing else of importance except for what he was hiding in that specific room. So at that point, he's going to just head back.
All right. You can easily enough sneak up your way back. You are technically still invisible, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, because you didn't actually use the immovable rod. You just used it as something to hold the paper. Because it immediately triggered. You would have if it didn't.
Yeah.
Because that is an action. But anyway, you move on. You're still invisible, so you can still move through the halls quietly enough to slip past Gwendolyn and Wilfred, who are out in the hall alone right now, tending to the bodies, whispering something.
Okay. Once he sneaks up to the balcony and is about to go into the wing where all the rooms are, he's gonna take one moment, look at Caleb, look away and exhale deeply and back to his room. Up to his room.
Absolutely. You sort of stop at the top of those stairs to look down and then take your moment and move on to your own room, your individual room too, so you're not disturbing anyone. And is there anything else you'd like to do tonight, or are you just gonna
Oh no, that's
rest?
it. That was a
You've
lot.
You've got, yeah, I know that was a lot. All right, so you all find some semblance of rest. Though there might be a lot of it on your mind, you get your long rest and awake the next morning.
That's good. Cal probably had to like relocate his own shoulder at some point.
Yeah, I imagine Cal went to his room and was just like and collapsed onto the ground and had to like pull himself into bed and like slowly like do that thing where like pulling off your armor. It's like as you just have bruised ribs all over, and you'd like have to like look and you would see like the impact point of the arrow. That although Kieran had healed it, so it's kind of like this one's a gruesome scar. This one kind of like it almost spider webs out, almost like the impact splits your skin open, and looks more like a star on your chest here, and kind of veins out like lightning where it struck you, and there's just bruises all around it. But yes, you can rest.
Can I get up early and go to work early before anybody else gets up?
Yeah, I would say you can get up and kind of move right out the door.
Yeah, you think
to
you
try
can
to
get
avoid.
up?
Well, except for Kieran. Yeah. Kieran,
I'm
no one.
specifically avoiding him.
Well, no one can wake up earlier than Kieran.
That's true.
Unless I pull an all-nighter and try to get that last 4 hours before class at 8 where you have to turn in paper.
Kieran's just writing a mean letter to Scarlet.
Yeah, right.
What would you want to do in the early morning aughts, Kieran?
Well, I don't want to send these messages too early, so
Okay.
we'll hold off.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you stay in your
But
room,
he-
or would you go
Yeah,
back down?
he's not. Actually, he would probably go into the study area just to like have the books and stuff, and just be doing a little researching to keep his mind busy.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you pass through the halls, and you do have to pass through the Great Hall to get to the study, and you would notice the bodies aren't there anymore. And the hall has been cleaned up pretty well. There's no debris left. They've moved everything out. Gwendolyn and Wilfred must have been working through the night. But you enter into the study, and you can easily enough find some book to read, maybe reading up on the humans' inaccurate depictions of Elysian elves in that one book.
Sure.
By the fire. Before we get into the aughts of today, I think it's a good time to take a quick break. So let's take a 5-minute break. We will be back, folks, at 8:35 to see how the Wayward Five continue with their day this week after the pain of last night, and to see what comes of Timber's bounty of secrets. All right, folks, we'll see you in a little bit. We'll be back in 5. Welcome back, everybody, from our break to Advantage in Paradise. We just had some arguments and some snooping in the early aughts of Advantage in Paradise. We're coming back to the morning after Scarlet has killed her former criminal partner and former lover, Caleb, and some arguments, and Timber getting pretty deep into the General's private wing. So, Huron is currently resting in the study, reading a book as everyone else is coming awake. Scarlet is rushing out from her room. Huron, you would hear her kind of like the hurried footsteps of Scarlet. I think it's safe to say you would recognize them.
He looks up, but makes no motion or noise.
Okay.
Cold.
Scarlet, you rush through the great hall, your boots echoing in the vaulted ceilings. You look over at the table that Caleb was resting on the night prior. You could just barely see the tint of bloodstain still left on the table that they furiously tried to scrub out last night. And as you step out the front door into the bright morning of Caradolan, you immediately see Gwendolyn standing there, talking with two fresh guards who look much more equipped. She looks over, kind of nods to the guard she was talking to, and walks up to you. Says, "Good morning, Miss Scarlet.
Good morning.
How are you feeling?"
Fine. Thank you.
It was quite the night last night.
Yes. Yes, it was. I apologize for any damages that may have occurred.
No. It was mainly the hall, the Great Hall. Oh, and another thing you would notice is the glass ceiling was still shattered, and it's raining out today, so there was this rank puddle in the middle of the chamber. And now you're out here, it's sort of coming down, a slow drizzle. Where are you off to this morning?
I have work to do. I've fallen dreadfully behind on my projects at the forge, so I need to go get going.
Which forge is this?
The Thunder Arsenal.
The Thunder
Senric.
Arsenal. Excellent. You see, she actually has taken out a notebook and started writing this information
Why?
down.
Why do you need to write that down?
General's orders. Keeping count of where everyone goes during the day and night for their safety.
I see.
Please try to be back before sunset. We'll be putting extra precautions in due to the break-in last night.
Of course.
Excellent. Well, enjoy your day in the smithy.
Thank
Miss
you.
Scarlet. Good day.
Good day.
And you rush past her with a slight uneasy feeling, I'm sure, of being tracked. Scarlet never likes to be tracked. All right. As you head down to the forges, the rest of you are waking up as well. What would you all like to do?
Wiswick's going to probably just wait in his room until he hears people getting up, and then he's gonna try and find Timber.
Okay. Yeah, you would. I think you would have heard Scarlet waking up. I mean, she was probably trying to sneak out a little bit, but you all were waking up around a similar time.
So yeah, I'll just end up knocking on his door, I guess.
Okay. So Timber, you hear that familiar lower door knock.
Yes. The door's locked.
It's me!
Okay,
Gotcha.
1 second. Timber is going to hide his papers underneath his bed and then make his bed.
Okay.
Opens the door. Good morning, Physic. How can I help you?
Wiswick's got a creepy look on his face, and he leans over against the wall. And he says,
I saw you snuck out last night. I wonder what you were up to.
Nothing.
Oh, you don't have to be so coy with me. You remember that magic casting? I know what you've been planning. So, yeah. So what do we get?
I get up real close to him, and I'm like, I don't know if you're in wolf form or not.
He's a hybrid. He's normally a hybrid. Only
Even though you're a hybrid, I go to your fur and I start trying to scratch you like I'm petting you. Like, come on, boy, let's see the loot.
That nerve only works when I'm a wolf. Don't touch me there. No. Anyway, get in here. Timber looks out the door and just pulls Wiswick in. And Timber unleashes the. Unleashes.
You flip your sheets up and the papers all kind of
have.
the papers kind
Iron
of
Chef.
shoot up a little and then come back down, and there's just these scattering of notes and a journal there, a set of some random things that Timber accidentally grabbed too.
So
but there's a lot of things there.
I have a lot of documents to read through, but these documents over here were on the general's desk. These ones were in a research room, a magic or wizard's research room in his basement. And this notebook was found as well. But besides that, that's all they've been able to grab. It seemed he had more locked away areas or secured areas with these animated statues that would protect other areas. I could not get to them without risking my life. And I didn't feel like doing that, at least for now. Anyway.
No, that was the right move.
Here are these research notes. If you wanna read these with me, that's kind of all I'm planning on doing today.
Sure. I mean, do you want to take them to the library? I mean, I've got some other things on my docket.
I'd rather not publicize the fact that I have these documents, so I'm going to sit in here.
Okay. Well, if you find anything, I'll leave Jet with you. And if something's terribly wrong and he's up to no good, we can get the crew together and barge into those places tomorrow night.
Okay. Why don't you go back to your room with those and let me know what you find, just so we don't arouse suspicion. Also, don't let anybody know that you have it. You can let Cal and Kira and Scarlet know.
Well, yeah, I had plans. I wanted to go out today, so you keep everything.
Okay.
I'll leave Jet here for you.
That sounds great, Wiswick.
Alright, sounds good. Remember, you sure you didn't get any magic items? Nothing that needs identifying?
No, I don't think so.
Alright, well, you just keep me informed, wink, wink, wink.
I will let you know, Wiswick.
And yeah, I leave this room.
Okay. Cal, what are you doing?
I think Cal would sleep in for a bit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, this is definitely the
he's
day
not-
Cal sleeps in.
Yeah, maybe get like a heating pad for his shoulder. And then eventually would leave just to see what everybody's up to. But if people are mostly gone and or locked in the rooms, he's not gonna be like, "Hey, get up,"
Yeah.
Timber would
let me
actually
double check.
Maybe get some breakfast and read a book in the study. I don't know.
Something
Quiet
that
day
all,
for Cal.
something that all of you would notice when you enter into the great hall to go to the study or to go to the kitchen or to do anything is moments after Scarlet left, Gwendolyn's inside now, and those two guards are inside as well. And they have moved they've moved a table almost to in front of the exit as like almost like a check-in point. And Gwendolyn is just there taking notes. You kind of would have like stepped out, and Cal, maybe as you're like stepping down to go grab food, you would just see across the way.
Okay.
And she just
well,
look
then
her
I would-
eyes up directly at you.
Wave and say, thank you for your assistance last night. That was very helpful. Did that guard, whose name I already forget?
Aaron.
Thank you. Cal wouldn't have forgotten. Were you able to contact Aaron's family?
Yes. We were able to get Aaron's family and the Sprouts the information. General sent compensation as well for his service. And yeah.
Well, thank you, and once again, our condolences.
Yeah. And as you turn heel, a moment, Lord Stormrain.
I turn back around.
There are some precautions that the General would like to take while you are continuing your stay here due to last night's break-in. If you would be so kind as to inform your companions. I've already informed Miss Scarlet, who left this morning to go to the smithy, I suppose. We would like to keep track of where people are going in the city in order to ensure their safety. And we'd like people to return before sunset if they can, to ensure we can properly lock down the estate.
I flick my eyes over to the guards, without preferably giving anything away on my face, and I want to get a sense. Are they guarding the estate, or are they guarding me or us? Like, where are their eyes? Are their eyes on the perimeter, or are their eyes like...
Give me an insight check.
Where are you going? That's not bad, Sean. I think it's just +1 for insight. No, it's +0. Okay, so it's a 16.
Okay, good. 16's good. They... two things you would notice. One, these are tougher guards than Wilfred and Aaron. Wilfred and Aaron were like in the cushy spot, they thought, house guards for an empty manor, where they got to eat whatever they want from the store, and they really just did things for Gwendolyn. These are probably house guard, like when I say house, I mean family guards of the Kinsleys. These are his personal
real retainers.
Exactly. Yeah. Much better looking armor, much more well equipped regalia as well. And they're watching you like daggers.
Okay, I look back to Gwendolyn, like I said, without giving anything away on my face. I go, of course, it makes perfect sense.
Give me a quick performance check with advantage.
Okay. All right. 15.
Okay.
And then I go into the kitchen and find myself some steamed something, boiled whatever, and some
Kieran
toasted
would have made everyone a nice it's like a grain medley with like oats and nuts and stuff like that, all like in like watered down honey. So it's like an oatmeal of sorts, but not mostly oats, mostly other things.
Yeah.
Well, then I would
mostly
partake
honey,
of that.
right?
Yeah, there's onion in there.
Ooh.
No.
It is a hearty oat breakfast that you can take part
nuts
in.
and medleys, more of a nut
Yes.
medley, if you will.
It's a hearty
Medley.
it's a hearty oats and stuff breakfast.
Maybe buckwheat actually is the main ingredient, not oats.
Okay.
I don't know.
there's
Can I get it in a bag
little
and
oats
get
in
some
this.
trail mix?
Yes, you can
So
enjoy.
Kieran, are you in the kitchen? Or is it just
Well,
like out?
It would just be out. It would have been something that he made in the morning. Again,
Yeah.
things to just keep him busy while he waits for everyone else to
Okay.
awaken.
Yeah, I think Wiswick would just go through his normal routine of heading to the library. I don't know. He probably ran into Cal before he did that, though. Because
I would
he
say
takes his time in the morning.
Cal, I would say, is sleeping in until like 10:30. So how long did you really want to be hanging out in the keep before you're starting your day?
I'd probably sit and wait. Well, I guess breakfast would probably be done, but I'd probably take a few minutes, like 10, 15 minutes, like, like quick breakfast before you go out go to the bus to get to school. You eat breakfast as fast as you can, and then you head outside.
Yeah, I would say if you wanted to at least like wait till Cal woke up to just check in before leaving, you could do that if you want to.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
So I'd say Cal, while you're eating that breakfast, is the perfect opportunity to check in for Wiswick to check in with you.
Hey,
Morning.
Cal. How you feeling?
A little bit like I was pushed through a press. There's no presses yet. And a little bit like I was pushed through like a maybe like sugar presses. Presses are the thing. That's what
Sure.
Cal says.
I know presses. Of course. I understood completely.
Wrung out is what I'm trying to say.
Hey, man, we've all had our bad days. You just take it easy. We're in no rush.
Thank you. Did you run into Gwendolyn in the front hall?
No, but I was on my way out the door.
Kieran at this point
Jeez.
pokes his head in and is like, "Oh, good morning. I made breakfast."
Morning. Thank you very much. It's quite good.
Yeah, thanks, Kieran. Am I going to see you in the library later?
Yes, but Cal, you were saying something about Gwendolyn. I just figured
Yes,
I'd
she's-
use it for this conversation.
In the front hall, and she wants to know. They're imposing stricter security measures on the house, so she wants us back before sundown, and she wants to ensure that she knows where we are. That way, she can get protection to us.
Oh, does she? As Timber pokes it in, so that the message doesn't need to be relayed again.
Yes, I say to him, and I lock eyes, and I have a carefully crafted my eyes are saying, "Yep, let's just go with this." No, sorry, my face is saying, "Yep." Everybody, shut up. My eyes are like, "Listen to me, please."
I take offense to that term. I mean, what does sundown really mean anyway? I can't really get my hands around
Before
it.
just get it before it's dark. Before it's
Yeah,
dark.
but it goes down at different times of the day. I can't keep track of that thing.
Have you wait? You can use
You-
your eyes, right?
You remember now that Wiswick has only seen the sun for 3 months.
Yeah, I know. Just honestly, I mean, I think it's okay when it starts to get deeper orange. Start heading home.
I guess that makes sense, but what if I'm inside all day? I might lose track.
That's fair.
Are they gonna hang me if I don't get in time?
I don't think she's gonna hang you. No, I think it's just gonna be more of a hassle, like they'll bar the gates kind of a thing,
That doesn't scare me too much. All right.
Just talk to her. Just let her know that. Just talk to her on your way out.
Okay.
And I guess I go do that.
This is
Yeah,
delicious
Wiswick,
stuff.
so as you're approaching Gwendolyn, she would perk up a little at the sight of you and from across the hall as you're approaching her. Master Wiswick, the general
morning.
has secured some permissions for you to enter into the academy within the
Wow, great.
university to inquire about more information than you can achieve at the university. We have, if you would wait a few moments, we will arrange an escort.
Okay. I mean, that sounds perfect. I'm really excited.
Yes, I'm sure Lord Stormrain has informed you of the new precautions we are taking.
Yeah, he mentioned it. I'm not too sure about the sundown comment, but
Well,
I'll try my best.
no need to worry. Your escort will ensure that you return before sundown.
Is he gonna like follow me into the bathroom and stuff?
He may stand outside the privy while you're in there.
Okay, I guess that's all right. Is that like normal? Are people gonna look at me weird?
He sort of smirks at you and says, "Nonsense, they'll just presume you have a private guard."
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
I thought you would.
Okay,
Only Wiswick gets a chaperone.
Well, by the way, since you're keeping track of us all and stuff, I was wondering, did Scarlet tell you where she was going?
Certainly. She said she was going to the Thunder Arsenal, which, if I'm not mistaken from my information, is within Frog Hollow. If you head down through the Willowick Promenade, you should be able to find it. It's in a northern portion of Frog Hollow, hidden behind some of the residential buildings. You'll hear the forge before you see it.
Sounds great. I won't be visiting her, but it's nice to know that she's found something to do with her time.
Excellent. Well, she looks over to one of her guards and nods to him, and he looks to you and tells you to come with him.
I do so, and as I do, I write down the instructions that she gave me to where Scarlet is, because he figures he won't remember.
Yeah. When you step outside, you would see that there are 4 other guards out there who look of equal fitness as the 2 inside. And the guard goes up to one of them and hands him a slip of paper and taps him on the back and looks to you, Wiswick, and says, "This will be your escort for the day. He will ensure that you make your way safely to the Kiris Academy, deliver the note from the general ensuring your entry, and ensure your return safely before sunset."
Hey guy, what's your name?
"My name's Hendrix. You stay close to me." Oh my god, I didn't even look
You
at that.
literally looked at his shirt.
No, I legitimately didn't. In my head, I was thinking of the, is it gin? I was thinking, like, what's a British name? But definitely subliminally, like, my subconscious was, like, looking for a name, and I was like, Hendrix. It'd be even weirder if I was like, this is Jimmy! I was like, why is everyone laughing? I'll make sure you're all right, little one. Right this way. And you can head to the university. Inside, what are the rest of you doing for the day?
Huron talks to Timber. Cal can be there too.
No, Cal fucks off.
Oh, okay.
No, Cal's still there. Just hanging out with the
Okay.
boys.
Yeah, I imagine you and Timber are at like the
breakfast
like
table.
the breakfast table, and Cal's like laying on like the couch with his oatmeal.
Avoiding my
you know,
left side.
yeah, so Wiswick leaves, and then Kieran kind of like leans a little on the table and looks at Timber. And he says, "So where'd you get off to last night?"
What do you mean? I went back to my room afterwards. I was exhausted from the fight, remember?
Oh, okay, of course. Well, you're always free to do whatever you wish. Far be it from me to try to tell people how to live their lives. Anyways,
I could show you some meditations in my room later if you would like.
Kieran like looks around like a little like both like oh my and like a little like oh my. And he's like, sure, okay, that sounds good. But I was meaning to speak with you, Timber, about some of the research I've been conducting at the university. Nope, the academy. Nope, the library. It was one of them.
At the Kiris University.
The place of learning.
What did you find out?
You had asked me to look into gods of the Gotsuru nations, and specifically, well, wolf gods.
Hold on. Actually, before you go any further, Timber reaches for his Wiswix flask, and just takes a couple of swigs of it, just real quick.
You know, I don't know if that's a healthy habit you picked up.
It's
but
not,
far be
but
it for me to tell.
I find that it suppresses him, and if we're going to be talking about it, I don't want any interference.
Well, I can understand that then. Anyways, unfortunately, there wasn't much I could find out. Hopefully, when we're granted access to the academy proper, I'll be able to find out more. Little do I know that Wiswick is off doing that now. However, I found out that the only humanoids in the Gotsuru nations as of right now are a type of elf, wild elves. Little's known about them except for there was one explorer whose name escapes me at the moment, but I'm sure if I can find his journal or something on his expedition, I can find more, but a lot of the iconography that's linked with the worship of these wild elves includes a large lupine creature. They have a bunch of large direwolf skulls that they worship. And yeah, so the Gotsuru nation's got a wolf god worshipped by wild elves.
Did you manage to get a name out of that?
No, unfortunately, like I said, it was all second-hand accounts of the first-hand journal.
Right, right.
I will continue to look into it once we've got some better sources to look at. I was also wondering if you could identify this for me, and Kieran takes out the pressed flower from Caleb's scarf and shows it to Timber. I found it on Caleb's person. Well, I think the resemblance to an individual is striking, but I was wondering if you knew anything more about it.
Let me take a closer look. What I know?
Give me a nature check with advantage.
Can I use my survival?
Are you almond?
What'd you say?
I said, wait, me or Alex?
Alex.
I said, can I use my survival instead?
Yeah, I'd allow that.
Alright, cool.
This is very much like the rainy day off from school that Cal's having because he's sick.
Thank you for the advantage. Got a natural 20.
Ooh.
So that's 27.
All right, these are Cinder Lilies. They are only grown in the opening that leads to the Paraxis Peninsula. They are very common in the regions around the mining towns there, such as Cindermire, where Scarlet is from, which gets its name for the cinder lilies that grow there.
These are Cinder Lilies.
They're very useful in fire-resistant potions.
Where did you get this?
Why
you this? Oh.
Clearly
Do
a
you
memento.
suppose this was for Scarlet?
I don't know if it was for her. He kept it close to his heart.
It does serve as a good reagent for alchemy. I can make
If you don't mind, maybe we just keep it, and he kind of like plucks it back and puts it back on his person, you know, like in a pouch.
Yeah, That makes sense.
Why does she keep doing?
Why does she keep what?
Why does
sorry?
she keep doing that thing where she just? I don't know. I feel like every time we make progress, she starts to, think more and not revert back to her time with the guild or the court. Just like that, she springs back into something like this.
I think she's afraid to go too far for change, or from her previous self. She wants to change, but she only knows how to. One way of life, so I think it's just a matter of time before she can completely get over her past self. Give her more time. She'll come around. I know it's frustrating for you, Evan, especially in this scenario, and I didn't hear your whole conversation last night, but I can only imagine what you went through and what she might go through.
Yes, no, I don't imagine it's easy, but she doesn't even know who he is. To lose something that close and personal to you, and not even know it. I don't know, does that make it easier or harder? In, the grand scheme of it.
I don't know, that's a question. Need to ponder a little bit more, but imagine it'd be somewhat harder because you don't know what you have. Or easier in that aspect. But if you knew you had, say, someone that does give you a purpose, a goal.
Yes, that makes sense. Well, it's no use dwelling on it now. What's done is done. We said. It's better. Back to the books, right?
That's right. Hey, Kieran. I appreciate you looking into this for me. This glove that I'm wearing, this blue glove, it's kind of... I've been using it, but it's not my cup of tea, and it's also burning a hand and a hole in my hand. Would you like this?
Well, Timber, I mean, I've seen you use it to such good uses, and I don't know if I can accept this gift. I mean, you already gave me, and he motions to the headband of intelligence that he stripped off the same corpse. You've already given me one gift, and I mean, I don't know, maybe one of the others could use it. Kieran looks very abashed as he's like, someone's giving me a gift? Oh my god.
Kieran, I'm not hitting on you.
No, I didn't.
His cheeks blush.
Cal's still on his couch, like.
Well, I thought it would pair nicely with your tiara. I don't know. But you understand magic better than Cal or I, so...
I would be honored to wield such a item.
Okay.
And as he takes it, he kind of like thinks for a second, I bet Wiswick would be very jealous.
You'd be right.
Yeah, Timber takes it off.
Owner of the Arc Gauntlet.
Which hand does it go on, left or right?
I think I made it go on my left.
Okay.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. Can't remember.
Whatever looks better in the art.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. You can actually find the art gauntlet on D&D Beyond to put in your character sheet. I did put it in there. All right. Anything else in the scene?
Cal would sit up kind of after, or maybe even after Timber left, if Kieran stays or whatever the combination therein is. And he would say, he would put his bowl maybe in the sink, you know. He would turn around and he'd go, in answer to your earlier question, Kieran, I think Timber was close, but I don't think he's 100% correct. Whatever those people, the Crimson Court, did to Scarlet, she's terrified of them and hates them worse than I've seen, I think, anyone hate anything. And I think when you're that scared and that angry, you fall back, right? It's instinct more than thought. It's hard to allow logic to rule when you're that invested in feeling about something, right? And so I think that's why she did it. And to be honest, my guess is she's scared of us. When we told her she lost her memories, how would you react to that?
Yes.
I would be scared of getting them back because what do you mean I don't have my memories? This is who I am. These memories make up me. If there's something I'm missing, then I'm not me. And what does that mean? I don't know. And then he would walk away.
Kieran would be left. Damn it, shit. Kieran would be left with his thoughts.
Yes, as the rain patters against the windshield. You guys are all in a car. As the rain, we're all.
I will turn this thing around.
Mama
Window
Kieran.
pane.
Window pane. Thank you.
Mama Kieran.
As the rain patters against the window pane, Kieran, you are left alone in the study as the rest of you depart for whatever you're going to do for the day. Scarlet, you are moving through the streets at a quickened pace, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
The streets are muddied. People are kind of avoiding the rain. You have your cloak up as you're moving through. You have your rituals almost. You tend to take the long way to Cendric's Forge because you like to see the streets. You descend down into the muddied sprouts as you see people fixing the thatching of their roofs, pulling in their clothes from the dryer lines, trying to move through the streets as best they can. You're soaked to the bone at this point, even though it's just a dry drizzle. It is a good half-hour walk to Cendric's Forge. You move through the Diligence Quarter where the rain takes on a dirtier quality from the smog of the factories here in the workshops and the guild halls, as there's this kind of low-set fog as the rain is pushing a lot of the smog down. You move through covering your face and eventually get into the northern quarters of Frog Hollow to head to Cendric's Forge. You move through the streets, you see it's a bright day despite the rain. It's that type of overcast where everything takes on that muted, high contrast coloring. That smell of fresh rain, fresh summer rain around the air. It's cooling everything down, but you can feel the slight humidity rising from the stonework. And then you hear the ching, ching, ching of Cendric's Forge, and you feel a sense of calm come over you slightly. It's just like the rain is cooling down the pavement, it's doing the best it can, steaming against your raging heart. What would you like to do?
I think I'll just, as soon as I hear that, I'll quicken my pace a little bit. and just try and get into the forge as soon as I can, and just kind of immediately, just as soon as I get in there, I'll say good morning to Senric, but like kind of just like get right to work. Like I don't want to have conversations, even though like there's just so much, like there's so much happening right now, but she just wants to shove it all down and just work.
Yeah, and as you rush in, you go to the little workspace that Senric has positioned for you, and there's not much there. As he kind of looks past you, as you've sort of like, I imagine, just sort of rushed in there and are, barely said your hellos, and he sort of looks to you from his project, whatever it is. There's something bothering you, little one.
I just didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I couldn't sleep. Just tired.
Restlessness rarely causes such fire.
I think I upset my friends. I know I upset my friends.
Didn't take you for one with friends.
Never used to have any. And now I have 4, but I'm not sure. I don't know, honestly, if I have any left.
Well, you can take your anger out on the forge, but don't burn too hard on it. It requires focus. I promised you we'd work on your dagger today.
Could we still?
Well, with your help, I've gotten an advance on my commissions. The work is slower now, and we can.
Take a big, deep breath, finish putting her stuff down, and... All right. Where do we begin?
Where do we begin? You head back to your work desk. You start designing.
Okay.
Got plenty of ingots here. Unless you had something else in mind.
I have something. Might be rather intricate. I don't know if it's going to work, and if it doesn't, we can just melt it back down and do something else with it, but there's a particular flower that grows in my hometown. Have you ever made anything that had a flower engraved in it or anything like that?
No. I don't make any of that fancy filigree shit.
Right, well, then I guess this is a project for both of us. I'd like to give it a try.
It's your design, little one. I'll help you best I can. I get to work. He returns to his forge.
I start scribbling.
All right. What we will do now is jump start kind of into what you would like to do during the following few days in your own research or activities or whatnot. So, what would people like to do? Cal.
Yeah, there's really only one thing I would like to do other than yelling at Robert to train more.
Yeah, I would say, Cal, you like that first day, like you like there's at least one point in the day when you're like asleep, like on the couch or something, and Robert's just like watching you, waiting for you to wake up, and you just kind of like peek an eye open, you're like, oh, jeez, Everflame, because he's like, are we training today?
No. No, Robert, we're not training today. If you want, review your footwork. Go find Embla. She can help you. But I'm having a day off, to be honest. But maybe the next day, Cal would. I guess I actually have to maybe go last because it depends on who's still in the house. So maybe we can. Sorry about that.
Curon, you would, upon at any whatever point you do decide to leave the manor on that first day, Gwendolyn would inform you of the same exact thing as Wiswick, and she would also insist on an escort for you.
All right. On the first day, Curon would have waited till the afternoon to go do some meditations with Timber.
Okay. So on that first day, you're primarily staying in.
Right.
Okay. And
No problem.
by meditations, Timber met inform Curon where he was.
Let's do that then.
So, come afternoon, Curon is like, he's both like, what could it mean? Does he actually need to meditate? He's never really invited me to meditate with him before. I guess there was that one time. Maybe he's gonna let me meet Astraeus. Oh, I'd very much like to. And then, he's just, so like around like 1:12 p.m. he comes in, taps on the door.
Timber, like, you hear it with, the 28 passive perception, you hear papers kind of fly a little bit. And, Timber goes...
Very quickly, Curon would be like, Timber, it's me.
Timber quickly opens the door. Come on in.
I'm not a fan of the secrecy, but he steps in.
Closes it.
What have you got?
He points to the bed and says, well, I did a little bit of, let's say, investigating of the general. I know it's not, I don't know which religion it is, but I've heard, not kosher, but, I think it's the Everflame, actually. No, sorry. Anyway. Look. I wanted to get more information that if we are going to actually work for the general, make sure everything is verify the type of person.
Curon starts to like, not absentmindedly, that's not the right word, but like, he picks up a piece of paper, looks at it, puts it down, picks up another until he finds something to focus on. But while he's doing this, he's like, yes, I wasn't quite sure if I trusted the general and the human king very much either. I'm definitely not a fan of their methods. Things are different here, and I should learn to accept it.
Yes. He also, his fascination with the Everflame and the fact that he calls it the one true god, it would be and is off-putting to both of us.
Indeed.
No. And he got
fear the implications that could lead to.
Correct. So I fear what his drive is, and I want to know his true intentions.
Of course. Did you see or find anything else that you couldn't quite whisk away?
Yes, actually. As a matter of fact, so first off, he had a lot of security in place, in terms of animated statues that would have killed me.
Those would have come in handy somewhere a little more public.
Right. Anyway, there was one area in the basement, a private section. There was two sections to this private section, one of which I was able to access, another which was guarded by one of these secured or further security. But the door I was able to access was a arcane research room, I'll call it. I had a bunch of magical reagents as well as these research notes that I found here. And there was... Do you remember in Driftmarch? In the basement?
Hard to forget.
There was that ancient armor that wizard had. You remember that?
Yes, and there was one of those
Yes, there was
demonic creatures. Yes.
Correct. That same armor was
Abyssal.
found in the generals in that room.
I'm sorry, you found the armor in the basement.
Yes, I did.
The same armor worn by an individual that, supposed, to our knowledge, slaughtered a number of Sverwaldians.
Yes.
Sparrows.
Okay. Sparrows,
Sparrows.
sorry. And more than likely used one of those astral forks to connect to the plane of hell.
Yes.
And also summon those bat
Those demon
creatures.
folds. And yes, in the bats.
You don't think it was the general himself there, do you?
I could speculate, but I don't.
No. Maybe he's simply an order, or a member of this order that deals with dark magics. I don't like this, Timber, not a bit. Let's see what the documents have to say.
Yes. Here. I'll give you the research notes since I don't understand these that much. I could make a thing or two, but not as well as you and Vizic. And I'm gonna continue reading away with Kiran. It's reading time.
We're reading, yeah,
Wait.
yeah, yeah.
This is meditation.
You're
with
muted, Sean.
Why don't the both of yous give me investigation rolls?
Oh. You're asking for my +0. My
You asking for
hot card
+5.
quality investigation right here. Ooh.
Does he get advantage if there's butterflies in the sky?
What if I'm twice as?
Twice as high. You have advantage.
Timber?
I got a 7.
All right. So it's less about, because you have the papers, you can go through them. It's just going to take you a while to sort it all out with this roll. So it's going to take you the better part of today and at least another day of the next week to really sort through all these things. The main thing that you get, since you did kind of haberdash grab a bunch of things, there's a lot of junk here. There's a lot of just sort of like scrap paper with notes scribbled onto it, things that have like, just things that are unconcerning to you, things that have to do with Gristrom, just the everyday to day business
Kinsley's
of
grocery list.
Kinsley's grocery list, because this is mostly what would be kept scattered on the front of the desk. The one thing I will say you do get out of that, Timber, out of that mess of notes that you've gathered, because I know Curon's going through the stuff you found in the basement, you're going through the stuff you found in his office. You would start to find some Gristrom memos, so to speak, that have to do with messaging between General Kinsley and his retaining captains and other soldiers in Gristrom. They primarily have to do with movement of the small army in the region, and preparations. There's several orders for reinforcement of Gristrom, for reinforcement of outer villages of that Mark area. There is also some notes between him and an individual that doesn't sign their name research into anti-magic and how to incorporate it into the battlefield. As well as a few references. You see it's strange because there's all these very formal notes between him and this individual about research into anti-magic, but then there's occasional notes that just seem mundane to you. And sort of like you look at them and you're like, it's weird that these are mingled in with these more in-depth discussions on research. And then you notice amongst those are also several notes from what seem to be council meetings, wit and moot meetings. But the biggest thing you would get from these notes are that Kinsley is moving to reinforce the lands around Gristrom and is researching anti-magic and its applications in the battlefield. Large-scale battlefield.
Okay.
Huron, what'd you get?
22.
22. Two things, main things you notice from this. One, the journal that Timber found, as soon as you open it, all the text disappears from it.
Sure.
As they do. You know, it's like as soon as the binding opens, you see it just fade away. The other notes that were on the table, though, have a lot to do with extraplanar conjuration, as you might suspect. There are research notes in there on several forms of conjuration, of summoning, of control, enchantment spells. There's a lot of research into enchantment spells on there. And then there are similarly research into alchemy of the sort to enhance someone's fighting capabilities.
And just to be clear about something, enchantment magic, how is that viewed in the Quintarchy?
Highly, highly, highly regulated and mostly illegal.
Cool. Just want to make sure that everyone's aware that the general is researching enchantment. Highly illegal. Just want to make sure we're all clear.
And then you would find
Wiswick panically scrolls through his spell book.
you would also similarly find that a lot of the you kind of cross-referencing with Timber, the notes from the basement are not the general's handwriting. You're on, or Timber. Actually, both of you can give me an insight check if you'd like, or someone with advantage.
Yeah, I'll roll an insight check.
Why don't
I have a +9 to insight.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Okay.
With advantage.
24.
Nice. The notes from the basement match the handwriting matches, as best you can tell, of course. Matches the communications that the general has with this individual who doesn't sign their notes, their messages, their name.
Yeah, see how the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted.
That's
The hearts. Very peculiar.
probably the same person.
Indeed.
So what this is about that alchemy that enhances human capability?
Well, comparing it with your your letters here about anti-magic combat, it seems the general is going to make himself a force of elite soldiers, hand-picked, enhanced magic and anti-magic abilities.
And it would strike you then to think back, Timber, to even just the Cinder Lilies. They're commonly used in alchemy to create resistances to fire and radiant magics, and there was a whole lot of that down there. And there's a whole lot of other stuff that likely could have gone into what you know as magical potions as opposed to the herbal potions that you've made before, such as your Invisibility Potion, that are slightly more volatile, may have some negative side effects in the long run, but are harder to craft and even harder to make in mass quantities.
Okay. When Kieran shows Timber the alchemy to enhance somebody's capabilities, do I recognize any of the ingredients in there? Can I write down any of the ingredients in there? Or what research has been done? And we can also
absolutely
deal with this later if you want to, but
no, 100%. If you took the time, you could spend extra time during the week to kind of create your own notes about these notes, saying like, this is what they experimented with. They're essentially like, this person was sending memos to and from the general in some way, or leaving memos behind for the general regarding experimentations with creating the most potent enchanting magical potions possible. You can see different formulas, notes that say, too much, the Cinder Lily was too dried out, too much of it in here caused the subject to instantly erupt into flames. You see little things like that. Some indications that there were human tests done, trials done with people on some of these potions. That the one that you would notice is the most complex, where there's some ingredients you've never heard of, is a potion that's meant to essentially, the description of it is, enhances every aspect of a fighting soldier in field combat. And mechanic-wise, it's a potion that can cast haste on someone. And it's one that they were trying to crack the hardest to make the most efficient in these notes. There are some pretty gruesome details in there of the experiments that had happened. Individual immediately dehydrated, overworked, lost all sense of mobility. Upon tasting the potion, it overworked their body to the point of almost immediate starvation and dehydration.
Did any individuals die from this experimentation?
There are references to a few deaths from these experimentations.
What was that?
There are references to subjects that were deceased due to the effects of the potions.
Kiran, some of these notes are kind of concerning. I think, based on the context of these notes, we should let everybody know, plus especially Caliph.
Are you saying to give to Cal?
Not sure if I should have him read it himself or tell him.
Yes.
He might be able to gather more information than I did out of this.
It is concerning. Whatever the general's up to, why he would have to make small specialized forces. The implication, Kieran says.
Yes.
And anything?
That's it for today. I think I'll go to Cowlett's room.
Yeah, I would say this took up most of the first day and part of the second day. So I'd say it's like late afternoon of the second day that you would have reached all of these conclusions with confidence. Huron, with that 24 insight check based on cross-referencing notes, you have, I would say that with that high of a roll, you would have a hunch that the other communications that seem more mundane between these two individuals, they don't seem like people who are like, how was your day? This partnership between the general and whoever this individual is likely some kind of codex.
So Kieran brings this up with Timber, but then kind of stresses, I need to go with Wiswick tomorrow to the academy to do some of my research there still. I'm hoping that now that I'm allowed access to the academy proper, I'll be able to really dive into some of the planar topics that I was looking into with some of these notes of the generals, well, of his correspondence. Might be able to connect a few of these dots.
Correct. And
so
make sure
Huron is kind of pushing aside Timber if he wants to, you know, decipher the mundane correspondence.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Okay, so I'd say that's how you guys spend the first 2 days. Third day, Kieran's planning on joining Wiswick at the library. Cal.
So you said it kind of spent like a day in the first half of the second, right? Is what they were doing? Is the whole...
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Sometime around mid-afternoon, Cal would come in to where they were having their powwow, assuming that Wiswick is in the library again. Gentlemen, I do have, well, frankly, I have a bit of a concern that I was hoping at least one of you would help me out with. You see, when Gwendolyn told me that they wanted to know where we were at all times in order to be able to more easily protect us, and they needed us down at a certain time, I got a sense that wasn't quite true, or at least not totally true. It was perhaps a lie of omission or half truth, something like that. Point is one of you free this afternoon to come with me just into town, maybe into the market?
Sure.
I have a feeling I want to test something.
I'll come with you.
Excellent. No rush. Just, come get me whenever.
Okay.
Seeing that they're fucking around with papers. Yeah.
Actually, Kareth, get in here.
Kel comes in.
Before we jump into that, I do want to check in with what Wiswick has been researching in the first 2 days.
Woo.
So, first things first, Wiswick, when you are brought to the Curious Academy or the Angiran Academy within the Curious University, it is immediately like being welcomed into the private like dining hall of the bosses of the company, where it's just sort of like you saw the university, and it was even that was awe-inspiring with the amount of books they had available to the public, and sort of that public-facing area where you saw all these studious minds. But as soon as you enter into the Curious Academy, you feel the overwhelming magic in the air when you step inside. You would see books floating and cascading across the space. You would see a living, moving statue that floats in the center of the Great Hall, devoted to a more mercurial understanding of the twin pillar theory of the cosmos. You would see these two forces that are understood as the pillars are more fluid and moving around the central orb that is the material plane, with the stars all around. You would see dozens of wizards talking, communicating, researching all around you. Books upon books upon books all around. And a courtyard in the back where wizards are actively experimenting with magic, actively manipulating different spells out there. It is beautiful.
Wiswick is trying to keep, like, he's just he's acting like a professor who's seen it all and is trying to be really reserved about everything, like maybe even has a scowl on his face or just keeps looking forward, but like inside he's like fanboying out real hard. Like he took a quick glimpse, he's like, holy shit, that was that thing floating. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and you know, like everything's like a bit overwhelming to Wiswick as he's trying to keep his cool. You know, the fact that like almost everything here is enchanted in some way. You get the smell of ozone after a lightning spell is cast, sulfur after some flame elemental is summoned forth. You know, all manner of overstimulation is happening for Wiswick. As Hendrix is bringing you through and meets with a representative of the academy, saying, "He's welcome, Master Netherrock, I believe is what your name was." This is probably a man in his mid-60s. You can notice the half-elven ears, a light, faint glow of arcane energy behind his eyes. The sort of frail wizard that you imagine in the storybooks almost. As he looks to you and says, "Yes, Lumineer Kinsley vouched for you, much to our resistance of allowing someone into these halls. But we have provided you with access to our libraries and some of our top magi. We will allow you, at least for now, 3 days of research between the hours of 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Pleased to meet you, Master
Arenleer.
Arenleer. It is
Arenleer.
so good to be here. Arenleer?
Arenleer.
Arenpeer.
Yes, Master Never Snuff, Never
Netherrock.
Jewel, Neville. Yes,
Netherrock.
Master Neville. Right this way. What would you like to research during these 2 days without Kieran?
I'm going to research. Well, I almost want to say the same thing I said last week, which is basically the Pantheon. I'm looking for anything to do with Snurfneblin, the Underdark. The core behind, I think, what I want to do is look for information on Carcery, because I noticed that there was evidence of similar magics in that temple that was nearby, and I also know that Carcery has something to do with the magics that what was the name of the researcher? Give me a second, I'm looking through my notes.
Killian Fox.
Thank you, Killian Fox. Killian Fox was working on, and I'm basically using his notes. I keep them hidden, like I step away from most of the other workers there. But I do want to ask specifically for whoever. Shoot, I'm doing really bad on names tonight. I apologize. I should have prepared. But the person that Owick had recommended to me starts with the C.
Magister Calra.
Calra, yes. I want to look for Calra, and I want to investigate Killian's notes.
Okay. Give me an investigation investigation roll for the first day of research.
Okay. I got a 15 plus 9 is 24.
Okay. So I'd say the thing you can get the easiest lead on would be the information regarding Carcery, actually. You would find several texts that speak about the cosmic structure of the universe, and they all talk about the twin pillars being too rigid, and how the planes of existence are more mercurial than that. They're more fluid than that. They shift, ebb, flow, change over time. Nothing is set in stone. They shift into different aspects. They change based on their manifestations. But the one thing that is always the same is the outside of the cosmos. No matter what research they do, there is always this seemingly inescapable, but evident darkness that makes up the outer plane of existence, so to speak, sort of the endless void beyond the twin pillar cosmos, which is said to be Carcery. There are several theories about what exactly it is. They all reference it as the domain of the Wayward One.
And
Some,
Abraxas, right?
their research into Abraxas there's back and forths where some people say Abraxas is from Carcery, some say Abraxas is a Shadowfell entity, some say Abraxas is a fiend. Abraxas has the most kind of debate and like lack of knowledge of lack of certainty behind the origin of Abraxas. But none of it's, there's none that are like, Abraxas is actually a celestial and here to help us. They're all like terrible. And some notes talk about how the Wayward One unleashed Abraxas into the Underdark to feed and to fill it with more darkness and to consume any semblance of divinity down there. To take on and remove, to consume anything that might represent the old faith, the old gods of those places. Most theorize that the Wayward One had plans for every one of the gods that sided with him on how to kill them once they're served their purpose.
Yeah, I think Wiswick's pulling pieces together, so he's thinking,
Well, if the Wayward One has been summoning creatures as Kieran's been researching, or monsters or aberrations to slowly attack gods, then Abraxas must have been his attempt at destroying my god that when he retreated into the depths of the earth. So
this is all like mine in his own mind, but
Yeah.
he's basically trying to use his enemies, like knowledge about his enemy, to find his allies.
Absolutely. And the deeper you research, the more you can look into the understanding of Abraxas's role in the war. There is a lot of knowledge in the Angiran Academy that references a particular source, which are the books of Kiris Ree, which you start to look into and try to get as many.
Books of who?
Kiris Ree. Kiris space RI. These books are all very old manuscripts that are disparate, where there's pages missing from them. They're all based on a series of texts that were found by the founders of the Angiran Academy, who were archaeologists and wizard researchers who found an archaeological site in northern Zverwold, which was supposedly a settlement of refugees who fled from Aldalor during the Morrisir conflict. The more you go through the Angiran Academy, the more archaeological artifacts you find displayed from this site. And these artifacts, you would find several rusted helmets that look an awful lot like the one that Timber found in the basement of the general's home. You would find rusted old swords that actually look similar to the magic swords of the Gwyn battle mages that you had saw in General Kinsley's trophy room. Ripped up, barely remaining scrolls, banners, different iconography of this Kiris Re organization that this entire university seems to be based around. And a lot of their primary sources to the Morrisir conflict era are from this group.
So, do we know where the name Curious Re came from? That's the researcher, or like just...
The university believes it was an organization, a council, a collective of magic users, researchers, some group that had the foreknowledge to try to flee Aldalor before.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're from Aldalor, right?
Exactly. Yeah. The one consistent thing is that they say this group is from Aldalor.
Okay. Yeah, I think that I'm gonna spend most of those days looking through all of the artifacts. Any type of rune or relic or anything I could try and decipher. I have a feeling that they have papers of documents on the things that might make my life a little bit easier. So instead of just casting, comprehend languages on every single thing I see, I'm gonna try and make the best of my resources, and even if it means being a little obtrusive, try to politely ask people without trying to remember their names, because it's really hard for Wiswick.
Absolutely. I'll say this is how you spend these first 2 days. Kind of researching as much as you can, but also trying to make that rapport so you can get more and more access. Wiswick trying to maneuver several social encounters.
I just call everybody master.
All right, let's return back to Timber calling Cal in to have a conversation.
I have a really quick question.
Sure.
As I was working on the design and working, is it possible to have slept over at the forge and not gone back to the estate?
Yes. You would, anytime you do that, though, you would know that the next morning, a guard from Kinsley's estate would be checking in at Thunder Arsenal.
Okay. Yeah, I think she's really caught up in this plan. So I don't think she's been back in a couple of days.
Okay. Yeah, and each morning that you stay the night there, and it'd be clockwork if you do it more than once, where it's exactly at 9 a.m. There's a bang on the door, and you would wake from your work desk, the blanket falling off of you, and there'd be a guard and as soon as you open the door, they'd be like, "Very good. Will we expect you tonight?"
I don't know. I am busy.
You would start to notice the guards are... A guard is seemingly patrolling the Frog Hollow the longer you stay there, keeping an eye on your presence there.
Okay.
All right, Timber and Cal. And Kieran, if he's still there.
Yeah, Kieran's. Keleth. So last night...
I ran away.
Fade to black, and then fade from black. Yeah, so...
Just a quick note, just for your reference, it is the 4th of Quenvala right now, which you would know is the day that the general is meeting with the Wittenmoot and the king, probably through his astral self, but something that you would know that he is present in the city in that sense.
So, yeah, that's if you want to read through these notes again, that was what Kieran and I got out of them. Caliph.
Ah, that's what the Fade to Black was. I understand.
Yes. You're now
I
caught up.
missed
You're,
that.
you're
'cause,
now
like,
caught
so
up, yeah. Fade to black, fade
Yeah,
to
okay.
black, yeah.
Here's all the things we discovered.
Right.
Well,
Seems that he's making, I don't know what to call them, elite soldiers,
And
and
this
shoring
and
them
this,
up.
This anti-magic, I
Grisham.
don't know what that is or how useful it could be to him, but it doesn't sound good.
I mean, there's counterspell, and then there's this.
I can't pretend to know what anti-magic means, though I do see its obvious use in combat. The elite soldier thing, that is certainly interesting. Sean,
Yes. Go
would
ahead.
I know anything about anything regarding that kind of like rumor or research, either in Endurus
Yeah.
or that I had heard of in the past?
Go ahead and give me a history check. For everyone's note in this small enclave that are sharing their notes. Some of the samples of the anti-magic that he's researching is in infusing counterspell magic into armor to essentially make it have like a one-time deflect magic use. You see things like poisons that are meant to strip a magic user entirely of their ability to cast spells. Some meant to do it temporarily, some to do it permanently. Anything, like there's a lot of research into stripping magic from someone permanently so that they are disconnected.
Now, how
from...
would one do that? Like,
that's
I mean,
where...
if it's divine magic, like, is it severing their connection to their goddess, or just in case it's ever used against?
What does it sound?
So you note that a lot of it's not divine. A lot of it has to do with arcane magic. The most crass versions are capture a mage and cut their hands off, or rip their tongue out.
Yeah, cut out their tongue, cut off their hands.
Yeah,
That's less anti-magic and more just brutality.
that's where it started. In the research, like, what are the capabilities of a mage once you've removed several aspects of their ability to cast spells? What adaptations will they create? Trying to figure out what's the next evolution of things. But a lot of it has to do with toxins that are meant to destabilize the mind, destabilize certain abilities, create disorientation that's meant to make it difficult for a mage to complete their rituals. Special ways to target and destroy focuses and reagents. Also, similarly, there are things about best ways to stockpile reagents. But the bulk of the research is in how to outfit a soldier to be resilient to magic. Whether it's potions that create resiliences to elemental damage, armor that deflects magic, swords that deflect magic, but then also incorporating magic into these fighters. Like, how can we, take a regular soldier who doesn't have this connection to magic and give them a little access to what they're fighting.
How much of this information am I privy to from just like coming home at the end of the day?
Not yet. This is only the
Yeah, it
second
wouldn't
day.
be on this day. Yeah.
I can look more into these toxins and what they have a vague knowledge of.
I rolled a 16
Oh, thank
on
you.
what
Sorry.
what I know about
Yeah.
anything like other than this that's like this.
I'd say the only thing that comes to mind, the idea of elite soldiers that are like all you can think of is battle command and like rank, and like there's nothing in your head that is like enhanced soldiers other than like the only thing that comes immediately to your mind would be the way mercenaries are used sometimes, and then Gwyn battle mages in the way that they are in Gwyn military seen as elite soldiers who can do more, who lead because they have the ability to do more, but also can fill a niche that is more much higher than the regular rank and command.
Right.
And then like assassins. In your head, you're like assassins?
So the anti-magic stuff makes sense to me. The last war we fought was against the Gwyn, and that war was almost entirely fought, or almost all of the Quintarchy's casualties were taken via magic. So that makes perfect sense. Learning how to combat that, how to make a normal person without magical abilities be able to fight that. This elite soldier thing, I've never heard of anything like that. The only thing that comes to mind are the Gwyn battle mages, which would make sense, especially if now in the notes, guys, it did say that he was reinforcing the Gristrom area and east, right? Like that's
correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which would make sense if the general thinks that there's going to be another war with the Gwyn soon, since that would be their most convenient and easiest landing point for them, more or less. Other than Honduras, that is, which would be its own problem. But I don't know of any. I'd never heard of any rumors like this or anything similar.
Okay, well, thought it's important for you to know.
Thank you.
When do you want to take your stroll?
Oh yeah, I mean now's convenient, but whatever.
Okay. Do you want me to be able to talk, or do you want me just nearby?
I don't think it matters, and I specifically lower my voice because the door is closed. I think, right? Look, all we need to do is test to see if they allow us to go out without guard, or if they do allow us to go out without guard, we need to make sure that we're not followed. Or if we are, at least we need to know that they're following us, because that means that they're either trying to keep us here for some reason, keep tabs on us for any reason other than the security situation.
Okay. I think I will go out as a wolf. I'm curious if they it matters to them.
Excellent. Okay. And then I get up and we start going, and I wave goodbye around unless you want.
Nah.
Okay.
As you're leaving, you of course pass Gwendolyn, who looks up. The hall just only sound is the scribbling of her quill. And as you're approaching, she looks up to you, Cal. Lord Stormrain. Timber. Where are you heading today?
Helen, we figured we would just pop down to visit Scarlet since she didn't come home last night. We think she's at her forge still, so I figured we'd go say hi and see if she needed anything.
We did send someone to check on her this morning. She is indeed there, but I understand. If you'd like to speak with your friend. Please
Thank
be
you,
back
Gwendolyn.
by sunset.
Yeah, I don't plan on being out much past. Probably. We'll be back by dinner.
Excellent.
Thank you. And then I walk out the door.
And I'm right behind him.
Okay.
And I figure we'll head out of the rise, you know. Maybe find like just kind of amble, you know? Like we're not like really
Taking your time.
we're not headed directly to Scarlet's place.
Yeah, we see a fruit stand. We stop at it. We look at a couple of apples. You know, put one back.
Yeah, you know. And maybe about midway through, we're still headed kind of in the general direction of the forge.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take like a sharp turn that is very clearly not where we're going, and keep meandering. Like we're not like running yet or anything. We're just still walking.
Okay.
I don't even necessarily want to like look behind us ever or like focus on like if we're being followed. But at one point, I want to try and find like a crowded market street kind of a thing, like just a crowded area, you know.
You would easily be able to find that once you've entered Frog Hollow.
Yeah, and I'm gonna stop at like a stand to buy like whatever they're selling, a thing of whatever they're selling.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna motion. I'm gonna say like, "Hey man, you're low to the ground." And, oh boy.
Lost Kieran for a moment.
I'm just gonna keep talking.
Yeah, keep going.
I'm gonna motion to Timbers. And I'm gonna say like, I'm gonna make the motion for like circle round, kind of a thing. Like as I see if anyone's following me from behind is like the plan. And I assume he gets that because we're so in. Right. And I finish whatever the fuck it is I'm purchasing, a bolt of cloth, and I keep meandering down the road.
Yeah, and I do exactly as Cal stated.
All right, Timber, give me a perception check.
Do I get advantage?
I would allow it because Cal's kind of helping.
Give him advantage.
Yes, let's do that. That makes more sense.
Like how well I can make sure that I keep the guy or whoever it is following us.
22.
I rolled a natural 20.
Ha ha.
I'm so meandering. I'm the most meandering.
Timber, you do get advantage then.
22.
22. Okay. You would notice there are specific people that you see in the crowd. They're not guards. They're not clothed in the general's garb or regalia. They're just every now and then, Timber, and given your sort of previous training and infiltration, you would not only notice people watching Cal, but you would notice them looking to other people and sort of occasionally doing a little tug of the ear, a little dash of the nose sort of thing, as you can almost see this zigzagging effect of people who are all keeping eyes on Cal.
At this point, Timber's just gonna kind of brush up to Cal's calf, like really close, like really put pressure on it, and then just sneeze, and then kind of like slowly start walking forward.
Yeah, Cal would follow him. Just stay. We're staying casual. We're flying casual. You know?
Yeah.
And
are you keeping an eye out?
Would.
Not particularly.
Am I keeping an eye out?
Either of you?
No.
Yeah, no.
I am not put off about anything. I am just a man going about his day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not doing anything particular.
I actually
just kind
think instead of going to the.
Oh.
I think did Alex freeze?
You froze.
Yeah, you guys both froze for a second.
did.
We both did. Yeah.
Anyway,
Right.
I'm actually not going to go to the fort. I'm going to meander for a while longer, maybe an hour, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to head back to the manor.
Okay.
Bolt of cloth under my arm.
I didn't want to see you either.
No, there's a point to it.
I know. I'm just teasing.
While they were out, I imagine at some point Kieran would go down to Gwendolyn.
Mm-hmm.
Make some polite conversation, be like, oh no, I'm not, I'll be joining Wiswick tomorrow. But he wants to look at her notebook.
Okay.
And two things. One, to see what she's writing down, but more specifically, what her handwriting is.
Ooh, smart.
I just want to see all the possibilities.
Yeah.
Just want to see all the possibilities.
Give me a perception check.
Dirty 20.
Okay. The most evident thing you can see are, and like I'll say you like see this as she like slowly closes it in the start of your conversation. You would still be able to see things. One, her handwriting is much sloppier than Kinsley's or the other individuals. What you can read from it is notes on where everyone's going, last time they were seen, and their behavior. You'll see notes saying, like you'll see things that say like Scarlet staying at the forge, not leaving, not coming back. You'll see things like you'll see a note, Cal heading to the forge to speak with Scarlet. You'll see a note from earlier that says Cal seems suspicious of the new guards. You'll just notice different notes like this. Nothing that says anything specific about why she's taking the notes, but it's all about all of your behavior. Nothing about the actual estate, nothing about, the guards. It's all about you all.
Wismic gets home late every single day.
Yeah, we have to pay the escort for Wiswick extra because overtime.
Okay.
Like notes like something saying like group seems to be following curfew, other than a few late calls from Wiswick and Scarlet's rendezvous to the forge, but they seem to be staying in the estate when told to. Okay. Cal and Timber, you would get back to the manor at a certain point, and when you walk in, sort of the rain drenching the floor, Gwendolyn would be watching each of you, and she would say, I do hope that you saw Scarlet and she is doing well.
No, we actually ended up turning around. Turns out I'm not quite as healed from the other evening's excitement as I thought I was.
Shame. I was hoping that you would get her to come home to rest in a proper bed.
She does this on occasion, no worries. I say, and then I kind of just walk past Gwendolyn, like, you're a servant, why the fuck are you interrogating me? Thanks very much.
Yeah, and you'd watch the two guards that are kind of flanking Gwendolyn would just watch the two of you as you're going up. Yeah.
I would go into somebody's room.
Yeah,
if Huron was still around, I'd find him. If not, I would.
He's
Now can Wiswick
probably in
catch
a
up?
study.
This is, I would say this is at the end of the second day. So if you wanted to, you could all reconvene together. Sans Scarlet, I presume, on the third day.
Okay.
Sure. So first, I would probably talk to Timber.
Oh yeah.
Be like, what do you got?
So, well, while you lay at that stand, I understood what you wanted me to do. They have ears everywhere. Ears and eyes everywhere. Even the people that I didn't think were following us were keeping track of us. Like normal townsfolk. They know who we are.
Well, they're probably not normal townsfolk.
Correct.
They just look like it. That's not
Yeah.
great.
No, it is not.
No, it isn't. I mean, you guys, I understand how nerve-wracking that could be. I wouldn't want to be followed around all the time either. But honestly, I'm doing some really important work in the archives, and I don't know how much time I have. They said I only have like 3 days worth of research, so if you can just try not to piss anybody off for just a little while longer.
I mean, I don't know if I've reached my quota yet or not.
You have one more day of research in there.
Right, so...
One more day.
At some point on this day, Cal, Gwendolyn would find you, and she would come to you and say, I have good news for you, Lord Stormrain. I was able to secure you an appointment with the preeminent scholar on lay sanctums within the academy. If you are available later today, around 3 p.m. in the afternoon, Magister Viridian has an opening.
Excellent. Yes, I'm sure I could fit it into my diary.
We have already planned an escort for you.
Thank you. That's yes, I will definitely go. Thank you. I suppose I'll meet you in the Great Hall around. How long does it take to get there?
Oh, from here it should only take about 15 minutes.
Okay, I will be in the Great Hall this afternoon.
Most excellent. We'll have all the preparations ready for you.
I bring this up to the crew.
Caleb, would you like
I say,
company?
does anyone want to go with me to talk to the preeminent scholar on lay sanctums?
I will go with you, but as a guardsman. However, I do not know much about lay sanctums themselves. Other than
Neither do I.
one killed my wife.
This was in an attempt to discover
We all
more
watched
about
it blow up.
those. I put my hand on Timber's shoulder. This was an attempt to discover more about those names that we unearthed under the lay sanctum in the forest. Whose name escapes me?
Killian?
Killian Fox and Edmund Hollingsworth.
Teramaron.
We just need to write these names on a sticky note because nobody can remember them.
No, I remember
Thug
Killian. I remember that.
He
Thank you very much.
specifically asked for Teramaron, didn't you?
Yeah, I couldn't remember the forest. It was just
Yeah.
Sorry. I misheard you. Okay, so in that case,
Kieran, did you want to come? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Very
good,
much
good.
so.
Honestly, I think this is really more for you than me. Just
so
figured I'd
everyone,
do my part here.
Yeah,
everyone
I-
is
I
going
wanna-
to the university today.
Yeah, I'm gonna. But on our way there, or maybe just now, I'll hand, like, what in Timber's view, I want to hand Reyna's notebook to Curon and say,
You're gonna need this if you want to discuss lay sanctums with Master Viridian. I think that there's some good stuff in there that he might be able to elaborate on. I deciphered as much as I can. I put a lot of clip notes in there if you want to take a quick look, study up before the big day.
Of course, and Elysians have our own history with lay sanctums that I'm sure will come in handy here when the DM gives me that extra.
Kiran, do not let him have it.
Oh, I would never give it to him, but to
Yeah,
read.
honestly, I've been kind of using his research as like a bargaining chip. So if you can just like get something out of it, you know, it would be nice. I'm just saying, like, if you could think of something else to give him
Well-
that he wants, sure. But it seems like a lot of people have been interested in Killian in the library.
Well, everyone wants to know what happened to the dropout.
As you guys are leaving to head to the university, Gwendolyn does stop you one last time before you head to the escort and stops with Wiswick and says, Master Netherrock, there was a message for you this morning. A certain Magister Calra says that she can meet with you today. Here is her information and where to find her at the university.
Beautiful. I was hoping I'd be able to do that. Okay, great.
So you all step outside, and there are 4 guards who begin escorting you to the university. When you arrive, they bring you in through the same way that Wiswick came in. You would all see the wondrous magic throughout. Curon, it would be awe-inspiring to you, but it would remind you of just the kind of like wanton use of arcane magic would remind you of some of the stories your elders would tell you when you were a child to convince you not to go exploring any of the forbidden ruins in Elysia, any of the artifacts of the pre-Iluvania settlement, essentially. The stuff from the old world. You know, avoid places where things move on their own, not by the grace of Iluvania. Avoid places that float in the sky and seem to bear unimaginable power. Be wary of all these sorts of gifts that don't come from Iluvania. But one of the wizards of the academy would eventually take the lot of you up to a kind of like spiraling outer library of this great hall that goes up the great dome of this sanctum, and eventually bring you to a very large office close to the top, where when you step inside, you see a very elderly man, probably in his early 90s from what you can see, like can barely lift the quill he's writing with, a elongated beard that comes down to his chest, a deep receded hairline with some long hair that's just off the back of his head, all of it a silvery gray. As you can see, he is writing with one hand, and then you can see on the other hand he has what appears to be a Gwyn prosthetic forearm that is currently like moving the fingers about in a fast, unnatural way, as there's this little dodecahedron-looking sigil in the middle that's just sort of moving with his fingers. He seems to be doing two things at once, writing notes and playing with an arcane puzzle, essentially. As he sort of slowly looks up and says, "Is this the young lord from Stormrain come to meet with me?"
Yes, sir. Thank you. I bow appropriately.
Yes. Come in. Take a seat.
Thank you. This is my compatriot, Kieran. He actually honestly knows more about this than I do, and wanted
Of
to
the
come along.
Elysian Vale. We don't see many of your folk around these parts.
No, my people tend to keep to ourselves, which I
It's...
think is both a strength and a weakness.
He kind of points the quill at you. He's like, "There are many secrets beyond this Invosi Peaks that I would give another arm to find."
Well, if there's anything I can help you with, I don't believe in hoarding information behind closed doors, so...
Of course. And Wiswick, you're there as well. You didn't split off?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Do I have time?
Yeah, you can split off and go talk to Kalra if you want to instead of...
Yeah.
You could wait till after, or you could do it while they're in this meeting.
I think I'd let them have this meeting, and I'd probably take as much time as researching before seeing Kalra.
Excellent. And Timber, are you wolf form or
Wolf.
wolf form? Okay. Well, Lord Stormrain, what do I owe the pleasure?
Excellent. Is this Magister Viridian or is this Magister Eden?
This is Magister Viridian.
Okay. I must have wrote that down wrong.
Just like
And-
the city.
Viridian is also the old master of Fox, correct?
Uh-huh.
Correct. He's the Magister of the evocation magic.
So we actually wanted to pick your brain a little, Professor Magister, on lay sanctums. You see, we actually encountered one in our travels out west, and discovered some, I'll say, interesting things that we wanted to, I guess, run by you, see what you knew about them, and if we ever encountered one again.
Curious. Was this in the Quintarchy or in your lands,
It
Lycian?
was actually the forests of Taram Ron where this occurred.
The Wood Elves do not dabble in that sort of magic, at least not on that scale.
It was
No.
closer to the border. It seemed like unpoliced, unclaimed lands more.
Well, there is a lot of unrest in Svelwold, but I'd hardly imagine a functional lay sanctum.
Well,
Go.
no, you.
Well, its function was, well, let's say it left something to be desired.
Yes, history tends to repeat itself with these kind of things.
Of course, your people have a tenuous history with the technology.
Yes, as well as the old continent. It's mine.
From our understanding, the technology of lay sanctums has been destructive across all history is known, save the efforts of the Gwyn Empire, though they do not dabble in sanctums of grandiosity. They only take what they need in a controlled, sustainable way.
Fucking hippies. Sorry.
Much of my knowledge comes from studying the old Book of Kiris Ree and whatever knowledge I can acquire from the Gwyn Empire's universities. Though I must say it has been difficult over the last 20 years to acquire much knowledge from Byzantium, given politics, of course. Is it not at this point, but when you came in, you would all notice what Wiswick had noticed the other day. There's a lot of he has artifacts in his room that are resembling the rusted armor that is in General Kinsley's basement. You would see, particularly behind his desk, very prominently placed would be a helmet just like the one that was in the basement.
Kiran, raising both eyebrows, looks to both Timber and Cal. And then, in a natural lull of the conversation, maybe after the professor said something that doesn't elicit an immediate response, Kiran goes, excuse me for the brief changing of subject, Master. The artifacts you have behind you there, where exactly do they come from?
Oh, of course. Well, we found, well, I didn't find, but the founders of the university discovered a site in northern Svelwold where much of our primary knowledge and artifacts from old Aldalore before, or perhaps we believe during, the Morrisia conflict comes from. These artifacts were excavated from the site. We have several of them throughout the university. They date back more than 2,000 years from our understanding. And they hold deep secrets that even today we are still trying to unravel.
I'm sorry, but would you happen to know if any sets in good condition were recovered? Maybe that could be utilized.
Oh, well, many have tried to make use of the Kiris Ree artifacts, and few have been successful. From my understanding, the Magister Prime has a few sets that have been proven to be functional, kept tight under lockdown in his chambers. Though, if I'm not mistaken, there was some sort of break-in at some point, where pieces of one set were lost.
Now, Magister, I did want to, in addition to picking your brain about the technology itself, I did want to ask you a few questions about a more recent history, I suppose, of the science. We encountered at this lay sanctum. We encountered references to a man named Killian Fox. Does that name mean anything to you?
Killian. You see his brow furrows. He takes a moment and kind of gets a little huffy as the puzzle drops from his Gwyn hand. And you see he opens up a drawer and pulls out some wrapped candies, some Werthers, and opens one and kind of sits back and pops it in and kind of gums it for a little while. I'm sorry, when I get a bit frustrated or angry thinking about things, I tend to think pop a sweet and you'll feel a little bit better. Killian was a former student of mine until he was found with some unorthodox artifacts and research. And at that point, we had no choice but to collect these artifacts from him and expel him from the academy and disgrace his name, unfortunately, across the Quintaki.
Unorthodox how, if you don't mind my asking?
Well, mostly in the sense that he was concealing them, and they seem to have effects of control, stripping the will of others, enchantment magic that we do not allow in these halls.
Do you remember what these artifacts looked like? Could you describe them still?
There was one. It was a wretched-looking thing. You stared into it and you thought your soul would be drained from your bones. An orb, a green light at its core.
Huron looks to both Cal and Timber, eyebrows raised like...
Interesting. Have you heard about Killian or where he's from him, or have you heard about what he's been doing since then?
All I know is he was left at the city gates with all he possessed, the clothes on his back. He was escorted out by my arbiter. And from what he has told me, he wandered off, and no one has heard from him since. Rumors abound, but he was left with nothing. Unless he's...
Well,
I do hope the boy finds some respite and peace, for he was quite disheveled when they found him, when my arbiter found him.
You found him? Was he on the streets? Is he, what do you mean?
Yes, we had heard some howling in the courtyard, and I sent my arbiter out there to go and investigate, as I'm too old to go and engage in such wildness. And he saw Killian out there, carved runes all over the fountain. He was stark naked, howling in the night.
Howling like a dog or a wolf?
More incantations that were unrecognizable. He had claimed to have no knowledge or memory of it the next morning. It's a shame. He was my most gifted student in the understanding of ancient lay sanctum structures.
yes, well, it appears that he took that knowledge, tried to make something of himself, he was working with, I'm not sure if you're familiar, the Highland Syndicate, a band of ruffians, Sverwold.
Well, you don't get as old as I do without hearing of the infamous deeds of the gangs and syndicates across the Quintaki. That is a shame. I have heard stories of other researchers turning to the syndicates for funding and resources. It usually ends with a slit throat.
Well, this time it was... How did he actually... Well, did he die from the Lacington explosion, or was it from the Harvester?
It seemed like it was from the Harvester.
Okay. Well, he ended up... What did him in the end was his curiosity for ancient artifacts.
It's a dangerous subject.
Yes, and it's interesting. We discovered that there's one Edmund Hollingsworth that is greatly invested in this kind of research. Are you familiar with the name?
You see he kind of, his brow furrows and he looks up at you and he's shaking his head. Not, no, I don't know this name, but no, like, Hollingsworth doing that. He looks at you very concerned and kind of steps forward. That's not possible. Hollingsworth is a respectable member of the Academy. He is my arbiter. He sees to the ethical research of evocation magic. He would never engage in such. It can't be. Your information is wrong.
Well, it's
Certainly.
not wrong. I have proof right here, and that this Kiran takes out the journal and flips to... Well, I guess it's not in Reyna's journal, is it? It was in what's-his-name's journal.
It was in Killian's journal.
Killian's. Well, Kiran probably would have brought it with him.
I imagine.
If he's going to meet with his master. And brings out the journal. He says, see right here on the 10th of Gwendilla. He says this about... Sorry, that was rude of me, Sean. I just didn't know what to say. On a Mondog. Well, because it wouldn't have been Quinvala, would it? Because that would have been a whole year ago.
No.
You know.
Gwendilla is the monster that has destroyed the Gwyn Empire back in... Sorry.
You would see his hands do shake a little as he, slowly moves them across the text, adjusting his spectacles as he reads it, and sort of slowly taking them off. And you see he waves the Gwyn hand and the door closes. You see he stands up and turns around and walks towards the window where there's a balcony and looks out it. And you start to hear him saying a few words. Magister Prime, do not let Edmund Hollingsworth leave the city. He must be reprehended and brought to me immediately for questioning in relation to illegal activities and forsaken research. And you see he pauses as a response comes in. I am certain. I think. But he cannot leave. And he turns back to all of you. There's a reason we have such strict laws on the research of lay sanctums. If such monstrous structures were built on our soils and the Gwyn or And he kind of looks to you, Kiran. Or any of the elves found out, they would not look kindly on such destruction being recklessly wrought.
Well, if I may, there is another lay sanctum that they were working on in the mountains of Sverwald here, Kiran. Points.
Yeah.
or describes it on a better way on the map, as he would know.
Yeah, absolutely. Timber would have informed you about where it would be. And you can visibly see Magister Viridian is, like, shaken up by all of this. How did you come upon all this information?
We were traveling through the forest of Talonron and we came upon a lay sanctum there. After dealing with a few Highland Syndicate guards, we were able to find this journal and a few other notes in the sanctum. However, we were unable to recover more as it... luckily, we were able to discover it was unstable and get out of there before anything. Before it went critical.
I'm certain it was nowhere near a proper structure. It must have been harrowing to see the lights. Where are you staying in the city? If I have need to speak with you again.
For the moment, we're at Chateau de Kinsley. We're at General Aldrich Kinsley's manor in the Rosian Rise on Heinrich Street.
Luminaire Kinsley is a good man. Powerful. We should be safe there. If they... Hollingsworth must be working with others. Thank you. But the Academy will deal with our own at this point.
Thank you, sir. And if Hollingsworth gives up any information either about the Highland Syndicate, if he was working with them, or any of his compatriots, we desperately would like to know, as we unfortunately will most likely continue to have obstacles, dealings with them.
Of course, Lord Stormrain. I am certain that it is important for yourself and the rest of the Quintaki to end this quickly before it outrages anyone in the broader continent.
Thank you very much, Magister. If we can be of any other assistance, let us know.
I will send word if I need you.
And Cal leaves.
As Kiran stands, he goes to lean over the desk to look at Viridian's handwriting.
Give me a perception check.
6 billion.
No, it's not that good. 24.
You notice several papers on the desk. You look at his handwriting in his book that you clearly saw him writing in. Beautiful script. Rivals Scarlet's calligraphy. Absolutely excellent penmanship. What was your roll again? How high?
24.
24, okay. It is not a match. But with a 24, of the corner of your eyes, you would see other notes there. Folded messages. And one of them looks like it matches. It might match. It's the closest you've seen since you've been looking out for handwriting clues. Is Kiran gonna steal something?
Kiran he's leaning on this desk, right? And he goes to lean in, and he goes in like a hushed tone. Oh, I guess is the master sitting?
He's
I don't
still
know if
staring.
returned
He had turned around and was talking to you, but
Oh,
now
okay.
he's returned to the balcony, and you see he's like essentially opened the window panes to like get fresh air. You can hear him visibly like sighing into the wind as he's sort of looking out, almost as if he's trying to find Hollingsworth. Looking out the window, you actually might even get the sense that he's casting a ritual spell right now.
Huron's going to try to snag that piece of paper.
Huron, what have they done to you?
He's
He's
leading.
very invested.
I'm
He's
gonna
very invested.
I'm gonna ask for a sleight of hand roll from you.
Of course.
Huron, the DC's very low because this guy is
course.
very distracted.
Yes. Well, you should have. So I have a backup plan should
Okay.
something happen, which was my original plan if he was sitting there, which I think would have been fun, but that's okay. All right, it's a 9.
All right. You are able to snatch it, and you only knock over one little doodad. You essentially like knock over his puzzle that he was working with,
Okay.
and he does seem to be disrupted by it and turns around. You can see the spell like discharging from his eyes that were glowing just a second ago.
So when Kieran
he-
went to reach for this,
Mhm.
he would have like grabbed it and then like he was like kind of like getting ready because if he got caught, he was gonna just pretend to fall like onto the thing and like just make
Okay.
it like a whole big thing. Make it
Okay.
even worse than it has to be.
So I haven't told you what happens yet, so you give me what Kieran does right now after he starts to see him turn around.
Right. So as he sees him, his hand's on the thing. He's knocked this over, and he just kind of continues like sliding the hand forward, gripping the paper, but kind of pushing other stuff off the table more than just the one doodad.
Okay. All right. So sort of just generally attempting to collapse and fall and
Right.
scatter things. What are the rest of you doing while this happens? You guys would have been like starting to walk out the door when this happened.
Timber would have turned around to make sure he was okay. We're like just here with all the ruckuses because everything's enhanced for him right now.
Cal starts coughing.
You see the there's so many things going on. He turns around and goes, "Oh dear, what? Are you okay?"
Apologies. It's just I'm not so used to my age, and I'm just a klutz. My apologies. And he starts to, pick things back up, putting them on, trying to keep the letter like balled up, dropped into the sleeve or something.
Yeah, I'll allow that.
But
I'll
then
allow that.
at a moment where like they're both picking something up and like they like their eyes meet, and instead of that like it's Kieran looks him dead in the eyes and says, "Be careful who you trust," and then gets up and moves.
You see, like, as you're leaving, you kind of look back to him with a nod, and he's just sort of standing there, and you see, like, this, like, skeleton of a man who was probably once the most powerful person in the city. And he looks scared. He looks terrified as he's just, like, sort of holding up some of the different accoutrement of his desk as you say this. But he gives you there's a moment his face sterns up, and his brow furrows, and he just nods to you, and you immediately see him brush his hand aside and the door slams shut as he seems to continue whatever spell he was casting before.
So the nod, was that a nod of like almost like, not camaraderie is probably not the right word, but like an understanding, like he's like, yes, I understand where you're coming from, then a nod like, okay.
Yeah, I would I'd say it was a nod of like resolve that you had restored in him, where he was sort of a bit more frantic before, and he understood your warning, I would say, in the sense of like take a breath, think this through, sort of thing.
Right.
All right. What are you doing now?
Almost immediately, we're taking the thing out and reading it as we're walking.
Okay. It is a letter to Magister Viridian from the Magister Prime of the University. It is from Crescentius Hadrinus, the headmaster of the Academy.
I'm sorry, can you say that
Remember
fucking
that.
name again?
Crescentius.
Pretentious Academist. Oh,
Yeah. Crescentius Hadrinus.
Hadrinus. Interesting. Interesting name. What ethnicity is that name, Sean?
Sounds a little Gwyn.
It does sound a little Gwyn. Interesting.
Are you going to return to the manor or do other things?
I'm heading back.
Can Kiran stay here to do his research?
Yeah, you could still do research.
Okay.
Timber's going back with Cal.
Yeah. Okay. So right now it is the 5th day of Quinvala. Huron and Wiswick are going to be doing some research at the university, sort of the last day that they have access to the university to do their research. So their last questions to be asked as everyone starts to slowly return to the manor the next day. We'll do a little bit of your guys' research at the start of next session.
Okay.
And your interactions there. You'll meet Kalra at the start of next session. As you've all discovered some unsettling facts about the state of Caer Dolan and the state of the politics here, the general's politics, and Killian and Hollingsworth's relation to the rest of the upper echelons here. And that's where we're going to end tonight, because it's 11.
Good stuff.
And anything else would be too long and take us too far. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us until 11. Thank you for that raid from the Mark Knight, DM Mark Knight. Thank you very much for that. We will pick up from there next week as our heroes investigate what they've discovered so far in their second week in Caer Dolan. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in Paradise. There will be Relaxing in Paradise this Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. There will be Tim and Chandler Power Hour this Sunday. This Sunday, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we're on it, right?
The 10th.
Yeah, no, you and Sean are next week. We've got Stefan and Timber. Stefan and
I don't have
Alex
a
this
name.
week.
I don't exist. Like
Talk to
Sharon.
my agent about this. I wasn't informed.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't tell you yet? Oh.
Check
Oh,
your
no.
goddamn messages.
Yeah, no, we booked it. We booked it with your agent.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You gotta come-
Then my agent. I gotta fire.
It's,
Yeah, that's on them. I don't know.
It's on your calendar. If they didn't tell you about it, then you better talk to them about that. But all right, folks, thank you so much. There will also be the Jasper's Game Day celebration this weekend, where I will be DMing on Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. So please check that out. Keep an eye on our socials for that, and keep an eye on our socials for any more details upcoming. And join us again next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to see how this all plays out in the city of Caer Dolan. Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely night in Paradise.